Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Ninja Useless. I am Mangekyō Susanata Buddha. Chapter 71. The time it takes for an ordinary person to run 2,000 meters is less than 10 minutes. For you fan now, a few dozen seconds would be enough. Judging from the results of previous major exams, the last 2,000 meters is a watershed. The first 2,000 meters are gradually more dangerous, and at the first 2,000 meters, the level suddenly rises. The next 3,000 meters are like a roller coaster, with ups and downs and no rules at all. Yufan had just stepped onto the 2,000-meter distance line when the magenta ball of light stagnated slightly, then launched attacks from all corners of his body like fireworks. The intensive attack streaked across the horizon and struck Yufan from all directions, leaving no angle for Yufan to evade. And because the distance has become shorter, the attack delay has also been reduced to about half a second. In just a blink of an eye, the attack was already in front of him. But Yufan stopped and refused to dodge. Viewing room. What is this kid doing? Why did he stop suddenly? Ren Yishu looked at the light curtain in confusion. Although after 2,000 meters, the number and speed of attacks are greatly increased, and the delay is also reduced a lot, Yufan's speed should still be able to move forward a long distance. But as soon as he finished speaking, he was stunned. I don't know what happened, but something like a black hole appeared on Yufan's head, and then his whole body was sucked in. Then the next moment, a black hole appeared 100 meters away, and Yufan in black clothes also appeared at the same time. But that wasn't the most shocking thing to him. The most puzzling thing was that when Yufan's body was sucked into the black hole, he clearly saw an attack hitting Yufan's body, but it didn't seem to hit him. It penetrated his body. I'm trapping you. Fa, what happened? What's going on? Ren Yishu was stunned. Gao Kasheng also looked shocked. Although he had seen Yufan use his ability to allow attacks to penetrate his body, he never expected that this ability could also allow him to move. And several principals have already become numb. They even had some doubts, was Yufan really a fresh graduate who had just transferred to a new job a month ago? Why do you feel like you have more tricks than these old guys? However, what really shocked them was yet to come. In the light curtain, ever since Yufan used Kamui to move once from a position of 2,000 meters, he has not used his feet to move. The moment he landed, Yufan threw a kunai with all his strength. Of course, the kunai bore the mark of the flying thunder god. Kamui allows Yufan to move to a place where his vision can be clearly seen. If it is too far away, it will be a little blurry. This distance is currently about 100 meters. Using Kamui for displacement, the biggest advantage compared to Flying Thunder God is that there is no need to print marks. Judging from the current situation, Kamui's displacement is definitely more suitable. However, Kamui's displacement has a disadvantage, that is, it takes less than half a second to cast. While moving, you have to hollow to avoid attacks, which is really a waste of eye energy. So Yufan thought of a way, just before using Kamui to move, throw out a kunai with the Flying Thunder God mark, and then use Kamui. Then, the moment Kamui starts reading, activate Flying Thunder God and move to the side of kunai. This will successfully offset the reading time of Kamui. Generally speaking, it is the same as using flash during the skill reading process in MOBA games. Just like all kinds of our flashes. Ever since, everyone saw a strange scene. In the eyes of people with poor eyesight, Yufan disappeared directly. Only the ripples on the water surface could indicate that someone had just passed by here. Even with Ren Yishu's eyesight, he could only see that every time Yufan appeared, he would throw a kunai forward and then disappear instantly. Then Yufan's figure will flash next to the kunai flying out at high speed, and then disappear again. And so on. Ren Yishu. In the eyes of everyone who were either shocked or confused, Yufan approached the magenta light group at high speed in this way of almost infinite flashing. 3,000 meters, 3,500 meters, 4,000 meters. The magenta light group seemed to be very reluctant to let Yufan get close to it, and its firepower almost doubled. A vast sea of elemental attacks cover the rippled areas as if they cost nothing. But unfortunately, it cannot affect Yufan's progress at all. Mard, I've already used infinite flash and failed, but I can still be hit by you. The last kilometer passed by in the blink of an eye, and Yufan arrived in front of the ball of light. Apart from water, this is the only thing here. If there is the power of heaven, it can only be in this thing. Look at the score monument. Oh my god, 450,000 points. Record breaking, record breaking. My Luo City examinee actually broke the Dragon Kingdom's record for the exam. Exceeded by a full 100,000 points. This should be almost the highest score you can get in the big exam. Quote. Several principals in the viewing room on the third floor were ecstatic. Especially Wang Xing. Yu Fan is a student of his school, and he has created such a record. His name Wang Xing will definitely be there in history. Leave your name in history. Watching the whole process, Yu Fan passed the exam and Kasheng was filled with shock. He knew that Yu Fan's record was probably unprecedented and unprecedented. Unprecedented and unprecedented. This is actually a very shameless comment. It's okay to say that there is no one before, but why do you dare to say that there is no one to come after you? But Gao Kasheng thinks it can be used to describe it. The reason is simple. Yu Fan has cleared all the monsters on the road to heaven. Unless the college entrance examination is reformed, even if there are candidates who are stronger than Yu Fan, he will not be able to score more points. Just when everyone was immersed in their own emotions, Ren Yishu suddenly said, "I'm trapping you. If this guy doesn't quit, what else is he going to do?" In the light curtain, after Yu Fan flashed for the last time, his eyes became red. Susanoo, who had been dissipated by him before, stood up again, then gathered all her strength and punched the magenta light ball. Boom! A roar resounded throughout the world. The force of this blow, if it were outside, would probably overturn a small mountain. But such a powerful punch was blocked in midair. There is an invisible wall there. He hit it with Yu Fan Susanoo's punch, but it still didn't move at all. Yu Fan knew about this thing. He was taught it in high school. It was called the Wall of Truth. Intangible, colorless, and indestructible. It's not a thing, it's a rule. As long as you live in this world, you must follow the rules. Just as the apple will fall from the tree, the sun will rise in the east. Yu Fan retracted his fist and looked at the magenta light group close at hand with his brows furrowed. With just this punch, he already clearly understood that no attack of his could penetrate this wall of truth. The rule of this wall of truth is that only attacks from light groups can pass through this wall. Although Yu Fan couldn't attack the light group never stopped attacking Yu Fan. Rumbling, various elemental attacks continued one after another, and cracks appeared on Susanoo visible to the naked eye. Do I want to quit like this? Mad, I really want to be promoted to the fourth gate. If you train yourself, I'm afraid it will take at least a year or two to get promoted. Thoughts were racing in Yu Fan's mind. Only its attacks can penetrate the wall of truth. Only its attacks. Its attacks. Suddenly an inspiration flashed through Yu Fan's mind. It attacks. There's nothing we can do anyway. Let's treat a dead horse as a living horse, doctor. Give it a try. Yu Fan released Susanoo, who was about to break, and his body fell freely. Elemental attacks immediately attacked him. Yu Fan raised the corner of his mouth slightly, then took out the Uchiha fan. Only your attack can penetrate the wall of truth, right? Uchiha milkshake. Uchiha rebound. Bang. The attack landed firmly on the fan of Uchiha's fan. Then, the entire fan emitted a dazzling white light, and the extremely cold ice attribute attack melted quickly like ice cubes encountering hot water. Hey, why didn't it explode? Gao Kasheng said in surprise. Logically speaking, no matter which attribute it is, it will explode violently when it hits the target. As if responding to his question, violent wind blasts sounded from the surface of the fan, and a hurricane that seemed to be able to tear everything apart shot out from above. The explosion doesn't go away, it just changes from exploding at Yu Fan to exploding at the opponent. Uchiha rebounds. The hurricane crossed the wall of truth without any hindrance and impacted on the magenta ball of light. The light ball was shaken for a while. As expected, Yu Fan was reassured. Uchiha's rebound essentially absorbs the opponent's attack into the Uchiha fan, and then converts it into a powerful wind style and releases it. The energy is still the same energy. The wall of truth will not block the attack of the magenta light group. This wind style is essentially what it releases, but Yu Fan just changed the direction for it. The wall of truth will naturally not hinder Uchiha's rebounding wind style. Of course, fortunately, the rule of this wall of truth is, only the attack of the light group can pass through. Rather, only attacks from the inside to the outside can penetrate, and attacks from the outside to the inside cannot penetrate anyway. If this is the case, Yu Fan really has no choice but to give up and go home. But if you think about it carefully, it is impossible for heaven to put such a wall of truth here. If a level cannot be passed no matter what, then the level has no meaning in existence. Breaking through a level is a test of one's courage, boldness and carefulness, daring to think and do. Viewing room. His attack penetrated the wall of truth. Ignore the rules of the wall of truth. How is this possible? Doesn't it mean that even the sword god cannot ignore the rules of truth? Quote. The principals were in an uproar. Ren Yishu touched his chin and shook his head. No, you are wrong. He probably did not violate the rules of the wall of truth. Didn't it violate the rules? Gao Kasheng on the side was a little puzzled, but his attack clearly penetrated it. Ren Yishu turned to look at Gao Kasheng. From beginning to end, there is only one attack that can penetrate the wall of truth. Yu Fan did not violate the rules of truth. There is only one kind. It turns out to be like this. Gao Kasheng suddenly realized. Now that the words were said, he could understand what was going on no matter what. It turns out that the clearance format of the 5th section of the Road to Heaven has not changed, and its ultimate goal is still to defeat the boss. The reason why they have the illusion that the 5th stage is to see who can run far. It's just because in all these years, there has never been a person like Yu Fan who ran to the end and had the courage to attack the magenta light ball. But if this is necessary to clear the 5th chapter, the limitations are too great, right? Gao Qiji frowned. Besides Yu Fan, is there any other profession that can turn the enemy's attacks into one's own use? Why not? There is one just when I think about it. What occupation? Don't the Hunyuan Xingyi Tai Chi, a popular school of fighter system recently, have a skill? Quote. Hunyuan Xingyi. Gao Kasheng searched for relevant information in his mind. Oh, I remembered it. You were talking about the skill called 3 words of softness, right? Gao Kasheng suddenly realized. 3 words of soft strength. The first word, Jia. People who have learned the Jia tactic can unite their body and mind, move their hands with their eyes, and be able to steadily attack any attack. The boxer takes it. The second character, Wa. People who have learned the Wa formula can use special techniques to minimize the force of the enemy's attack on the basis of the connection formula. This is a method of releasing force. The third word, Fa tactic. A person who has learned the Fa tactic can turn the enemy's attack into his own use and return it to the opponent on the basis of receiving and transforming. This is the Jiu-Jitsu. Develop and understand the technology to the extreme. 3-character Rujin is only a level 25 skill, but if you can master all 3 words, its effect in actual combat is even greater than some level 30 or even 35 level skills. At that time, Ma Baoguo became famous in the Dragon Kingdom for developing this skill, and he has been revered as master since then. Understanding the skills of other professions is also part of fighting. I can't even think of this. You are too lazy. Ren Yishu said. In addition, there are many auxiliary combat professions that can also do this kind of thing. How could there not be one? Even if there are, I don't think these skills can really destroy the red light group. Gao Kasheng looked at the light screen and said unconvinced. In the light curtain, although Yu Fan successfully hit the red light ball with Uchiha's rebounded wind style, the damage caused was minimal. Basically you can't see any difference after being attacked. The attack emitted by this light group does not contain much energy, so the wind style activated by it is only at a mediocre level. As the last boss on the road to heaven, this light group cannot be a paper tiger that breaks into pieces at a touch, and its defense power will not be low. But Yu Fan is not afraid of scraping. As a former social animal, what he lacks most is patience. What's wrong with Gua Sha? As long as you can scratch it, you will eventually die. The moment Yu Fan's feet landed on the water, all the muscles in his body tensed up. 8 inner gates. The first gate, open the door, open. Quote. The veins on Yu Fan's forehead were slightly raised. Second gate, closed, open. Quote. The muscles on Yu Fan's limbs suddenly bulged. Third gate, Shengmen, open. Quote. The skin all over Yu Fan's body suddenly turned red, and his body surface temperature rose rapidly. On the high platform, what happened? Gao Kasheng stared closely at Yu Fan, who was starting to feel hot all over his body. His momentum suddenly started to rise. Still rising. It's almost reaching the level of power that can only be achieved at level 35. Level 40. Oh my god. It's a secret technique. Ren Yishu's eyes were full of fire. There are some special professions with special skills that can temporarily increase the user's level in a short period of time, allowing the user to overcome level challenges. And people generally call this skill, secret skill. As the second in command of the Dragon Kingdom's military department, he has seen a lot of secret techniques. But generally speaking, it can only be upgraded to 2 or 3 levels. For better ones, it can be upgraded to 3 or 5 levels, which is the limit. This was the first time he had seen a secret technique like Yu Fan's that could raise his momentum by a full 10 levels in one go. Although this is at a relatively low level, it is still incredible. Wow, Yu Fan's figure disappeared from the place almost at a speed that was difficult to discern with the naked eye. Only a huge wave more than 10 meters high was left. Yu Fan's location is very close to the magenta light group. Therefore, its attacks are also numerous. But the next second, these attacks seemed to be stuck, and they paused in midair. Bang, 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 quote. Yu Fan's figure seemed to be everywhere, and all light group attacks were knocked out within 4 or 5 breaths, and then transformed into Yu Fan's wind style. The speed is outrageous. At this moment, the huge lake seemed to have turned into a large tennis court for Yu Fan alone. The Uchiha fan is a racket, the magenta light ball is a ball machine, and the attack it sends is a tennis ball. No matter how fast the ball machine serves, Yu Fan can always hit them all back. The magenta light group was blown around, and the light on it dimmed slightly. This output is really low. Yu Fan frowned. It's not that I'm afraid that I won't be able to kill it, but it's mainly that it will take too long to continue like this. Although there is no time limit for the college entrance examination, if a whole day passes and it is not over yet, affecting the release of results the next day, I don't know what measures the officials will take. Maybe he will force himself to give up the big exam. Just when Yu Fan was struggling, he suddenly saw something shining with black light on the finger of his right hand. Space separator ring. Yu Fan's heart skipped a beat. It was not easy to hit the flying thunder god's mark on the water, so he had been relying on the speed of 8 inner gates to run directly, so he never triggered the space separator. If the wind style sent out can trigger the space separator, it only takes 100 blows and it will be over. Thinking of this, Yu Fan thought and directly activated the displacement skill, Space Jump, that comes with this ring, intending to use it for an experiment. When the skill was activated, his figure immediately teleported forward 1 meter. Black light flows on the ring. This means that the separator attribute has been triggered. Separator after the wearer uses any flashing displacement skill including Space Jump, the next attack will ignore all defenses and add real damage of 1% of the enemy's maximum health. Yu Fan didn't hesitate. He raised his hand and hit the incoming attack with Uchiha Bounce. The strong wind roared out, blowing on the magenta light group. The moment it was blown, the magenta light group suddenly stopped attacking. The next second, click, a crack several meters long appeared on its body without any warning. It took effect. Yu Fan was overjoyed. The effect was exactly the same as when he used it for the house he bought for Su Rao. After a brief pause, a roar that was several times louder than before suddenly erupted from the magenta light group. The attack density increased again, with a somewhat overwhelming momentum. This gave Yu Fan the illusion that this red light ball was angry. Although logically speaking, it should not have the same emotions as humans. Well done. I'm not afraid that you'll attack too much, but I'm afraid that you won't attack at all. Yu Fan shouted loudly, stepped on the water with his right foot, jumped up high, and then scattered the talismans all over the sky. These talismans have been marked with the flying thunder god in advance. Of course, this is not a talisman paper for detonating talismans. Yu Fan does not have the spare money to buy so many detonating talismans. These talismans were bought in the market, costing 100 yuan per 1,000. The quality was not bad and they would not rot easily even if they were soaked in water. The purpose of buying these talisman papers is to better use Flying Thunder God during battle. After all, using kunai still has great limitations. The first is that there are not that many quantities. Although things like kunai are not expensive, Yufan can only accept free prostitution. It is impossible for him to pay for it. Therefore, kunai cannot be thrown away like a talisman. Secondly, kunai is too heavy, has a short time in the air, and will sink to the bottom immediately in water. Imagine that during the battle, Yufan, a flying thunder god, teleported to the bottom of the lake. That would be too dry. Talisman papers all over the sky slowly fell from the sky. Yufan used these talisman papers as a springboard to move around among them. Every time he jumps, he can trigger the separator special effect, leaving a crack in the body of the magenta light group. 99, 98, 97, 96. Yufan thought silently in his heart. When this number returns to 0, it will be the death of the magenta light group. The progress this time was very fast. After all, it only took 100 strokes. If Yufan could have discovered the usefulness of space separator earlier, this would probably be over. 3, 2, 1. Yufan suddenly waved his fan. The body of the magenta light group is now in tatters, with cracks everywhere, and even a piece has collapsed in some places. The original spherical body is no longer visible. The whole space was deathly silent. Yufan and Guangtuan stared at each other with big eyes. Yufan, what's the meaning? Is this still possible? There's only one last chance left, why don't you attack? On the viewing platform, what does this mean? Isn't this just cheating? I don't intend to let others pass this test. Quote. The 6 principals were all filled with indignation. Originally they thought Yufan had already won, but they didn't expect that he would do something like this in the end. After spending so much effort, the result still fell short. What a pity. This situation was obviously beyond Ren Yishu's expectation. He smiled bitterly and didn't know what to say. In the whole viewing room, only Gao Kasheng was happy. He held his belly and pointed at Yufan and laughed. Haha, it's so funny. I don't know why, but when I see this kid being defeated, I feel inexplicably happy, ha 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 ha. Wait, stop laughing at you. Ren Yishu looked at the light screen carefully. Yufan doesn't seem to be planning to quit. He seems to want to do something else. Gao Kasheng heard the sound and looked over there. In the light curtain, after Yufan faced off with the magenta light ball for dozens of seconds, he found that it really stopped attacking. Haha, you thought there was nothing I could do against you, did you? Yufan sneered, and then with a thought, he sent his 2 eyes to Kamui's space. There are already a lot of things in Kamui's space at the moment. There is a large cloud of poisonous gas, the head of a bone dragon spits, and a lot of corpses of wild monsters. Of course, there are also several light groups of different colors suspended in midair not far away. After determining the location, Yufan directly activated Kamui to get them out. Snort, are you dumbfounded? Do you think I didn't expect you to do this in the end? Laozi has used Kamui to secretly store several attacks and put them in the Kamui space. Daiyu, Uchiha rebound. Yufan rounded his hand and blew out a fan, and a hurricane rose in response, with a biting chill, impacting on the light group. This final boss of the road to heaven, which no one has ever defeated, was finally reduced to ashes. The power of heaven, which was so rich that it reached the ultimate level, surged towards Yufan like a tide. Isn't this why Yufan put so much effort into it? The power of heaven was integrated into Yufan's body, and his physical strength increased rapidly. Half a minute later, the restriction of the 4th gate of 8 inner gates no longer existed. 8 inner gates 4th gate, injury gate, open. Quote. Roar. Feeling the surge of power within his body, Yufan roared uncontrollably. Cool, what just happened? Why did another attacking light ball suddenly appear in front of Yufan? What did he do? Everyone in the viewing room was full of questions. They thought that Yufan had to quit, but the result was unexpected, catching them off guard. He made history. Wang Xing shouted and brought everyone back to reality. The viewing room was silent for a second, and then burst into fierce cheers. The 6 principals danced happily like children. This is no longer the honor of Yufan alone, this is the honor of the entire Los Angeles city. Wang Xing, the principal of Yufan, was so excited that his beard trembled and his face turned red. About 10 seconds after Yufan hits the magenta light group. Congratulations to the candidate for passing the complete trial and receiving the reward. The level will be increased by 5 levels. A sacred female voice came from the sky, and then a blue light pillar suddenly fell from the sky and shone on Yufan's body. A large amount of experience poured into Yufan's body, and Yufan's level increased rapidly. It didn't take long to reach level 32. Yufan looked left and right and found that there was no movement. What's going on? It was promised to be level 5, but why did it go up 2 levels? Where did the level 3 experience go? Did you get a kickback? Yufan shouted to the sky. Not long after, the sacred female voice from the sky came again, and it was a little angry. The value of the power of heaven you have absorbed far exceeds this level 3 experience. Don't push your nose and face, get out. After the words fell, before Yufan could reply, the white light used for teleportation enveloped him and then he was thrown out of the trial place. At this point, all candidates in Luo City have completed the major exam. On the viewing platform, Qin Haitian, wait until the exam is over and check who else in this venue has been paying attention to Yufan's light curtain besides us. If there is, let him sign a confidentiality agreement, and at the same time send someone to monitor him. Don't leak anything, otherwise, he will be charged with endangering national interests. Ren Yishu said seriously. Yufan's situation is really special. If an interested person discovers it and reveals it to the United States or Neon country, they may have other ideas. Trying to get rid of Yufan before Yufan has fully grown up. In that case, Yufan would be in danger. But this matter is not difficult. There are so many candidates and the light curtain is densely packed. Most people just look at their own relatives and friends and have no time to care about other people. Moreover, the general audience cannot see the real-time ranking of the steal at all, and there is no reason to pay attention to Yufan. Qin Haitian didn't say anything and immediately started arranging people to handle the matter. Okay, this year's exam is over. Please leave the venue in an orderly manner. If any of the candidates are injured, they can stay here for treatment. Those who are not injured can leave the venue. Wang Xing stood in the air, his voice spread throughout the venue, announcing the end of the exam. He was very excited at the moment and wanted to tell all the audience the good news that the candidates from Luo City had broken the record of the Long Kingdom exam. But the big exam list will not be released until tomorrow. This is a rule. If you break the rules, you will be held responsible. After hearing Wang Xingda's words, the people in the audience immediately became noisy, discussing the situation of the exam, and got up and left. Yufan was the last one to come out of the trial place. He walked out at the back of the crowd. As soon as he left the gate of the venue, he was stopped by Ren Yishu, Gao Kasheng and Qin Haitian. What? Yufan looked at Ren Yishu warily. This old man gave him a very dangerous feeling. Now he can open the 4th gate of the 8 inner gates, and it can still make him feel like this, which means that this old man is at least level 45 or above. Well, classmate Yufan, let me introduce to you. This is the general of our Dragon Kingdom military department, General Ren Yishu. He thinks you have great potential and wants to talk to you. Qin Haitian took a step forward. Said to Yufan. Who are you? Yufan frowned. You don't know, forget it, I am the Lord of Luocheng North City, Qin Haitian, you should have heard of me. Qin Haitian said. Oh, I know, you are the one with 50 million. Yufan suddenly realized. Ahem. Qin Haitian coughed twice and didn't know how to answer. Well, I am the one with 50 million, as long as you have an impression. For the sake of money, I'll just listen to what you have to say. Tell me, what are you talking about? Ren Yishu was very pleased to see Yufan's, I don't care about anyone, expression. He himself was like this when he was young. This classmate, it's like this. I think you have great potential, so I plan to admit you as a special invited student of the Kyoto University Military Academy. What do you think? Hearing this, Yufan was stunned. The Armed Forces Association is a student organization that every first-class university has. Its nature is somewhat similar to that of a student union, but not exactly the same. The student union is richer and easier to get into, so they generally prefer Tianluo Hall. It is difficult to get into the military academy. Once you enter, you will most likely join the military after graduation. These two student organizations are very important in any school. They are even eligible to directly admit students to their universities under special circumstances. Of course, places are limited. For top universities like Kyoto University, there are only 2 or 3 places in the Armed Forces Council at most. The situation is similar in the student union. But generally speaking, most of these quotas are digested internally by the military department and Tianluo Palace. Whoever has made great contributions will give this quota to his children, like this. Yu Fan thought for a moment, then shook his head. No need, I am confident in my results, and I don't need your special invitation status. In recent years, the conflict between Tianluodian and the military has become increasingly fierce. This will inevitably lead to conflicts between the student union and the military armament union in the school. If he becomes a specially invited student of the Armed Forces Council, then Yu Fan will definitely have to join the Armed Forces Council. At that time, Yu Fan would inevitably be involved in the conflict between the 2 student organizations, which Yu Fan did not want to do. After entering college, Yu Fan just wanted to make money and upgrade like crazy. He didn't want to deal with other messy things. Don't refuse in such a hurry, Ren Yishu said with a smile. As long as you agree, I promise you that when you are a sophomore, you will be the vice president of the Kyoto University Arms Council. When you are a junior, you will be the official president. After graduation, you will enter the military and be directly awarded the rank of major. Gao Kasheng's eyebrows skipped a beat. The price offered by Ren Yishu was really quite high. What is the concept of the president of the Armed Forces Council? One of the 2 students with the most say in the entire school, the other is the president of the student union. The authority of these 2 people is even higher than that of ordinary professors and directors. Only the principal and a few people have authority over them. If Yu Fan agrees to Ren Yishu's proposal, as long as the news is released that Yu Fan is the next president of the Armed Forces Council, he will be able to roam the entire Kyoto University as soon as he enrolls, and few people will dare to mess with him. And more importantly, once Yu Fan becomes the president of the Armed Forces Council, the entire resources of Kyoto University will be tilted towards Yu Fan. Yu Fan has free control over the massive resources allocated to the Armed Forces Council by the school. In addition, it is very exaggerated to be awarded the rank of major directly after graduation. Generally speaking, the president of Kyoto University's Military Armament Association who joins the military after graduation can only be awarded the rank of ensign. When I got to Yu Fan, I immediately jumped to a major level and became a major. It's just outright special treatment. Moreover, Gao Kasheng has no doubts about the authenticity of Ren Yishu's words. As the second in command of the Dragon Kingdom's military department, who was born in Kyoto University, Ren Yishu could make whoever he wanted to be the president of the Armed Forces Council and who he wanted to raise his military rank. It was all a matter of one sentence. After listening to Ren Yishu's words, Yu Fan touched his chin and began to think about the pros and cons. After a while, he raised his head and said, "It's okay if you want me to be a special student and join the Armed Forces Association, but I have a condition." Don't agree so quickly. Maybe the conditions in the student union are better. A low and magnetic voice interrupted Yu Fan's words. Yu Fan turned around and saw 2 people flying towards him in the sky on his right. Gao Kasheng was overjoyed when he heard this familiar voice. "Brother Chang, how did you come?" 2 middle-aged men came. One was tall and thin, with a face as deep as water, and eyes as cold as a fish who had been killing fish at RT Mart for 20 years. Not sure if it was an illusion, but Yu Fan even felt that there was a faint fishy smell on his body. This person gave Yu Fan an extremely dangerous feeling. This sense of danger is no less than that of Ren Yishu next to him, who is definitely a master. The other person has a medium build, a smile, and a 3/4 length hairstyle that is meticulously combed. This person's strength is average, far inferior to the one next to him. But judging from Yu Fan's more than 10 years of experience in the workplace in his previous life, this guy is definitely not a fuel-efficient person. Yu Fan couldn't tell what he was thinking at all. The smiling tiger is the most difficult to guard against. Gao Kasheng obviously knew these 2 people and quickly ran to their side. "Brother Chang, why are you here?" he asked excitedly. "If I don't come, wouldn't you be screwed up?" The man called Brother Chang said with a smile. "I didn't expect anyone besides me to know Yu Fan's special nature in advance." Gao Kasheng looked at Qin Haitian and said. He didn't know how Qin Haitian knew about Yu Fan before the big exam. "Haha, of course the military will also know what you can know." Isn't this a matter of course? Do you think so, General Ren? Brother Chang greeted Ren Yishu with a smile. Ren Yishu looked at Gao Qicheng's performance with a dark face and said nothing. Oh, General Ren is still so serious about his words. Gao Qicheng said, pointing to the back of his butt. The tall, thin man next to him understood immediately, and streams of water flowed from his hands. The water flowed to the back of Gao Qicheng's butt, then quickly formed, and finally turned into a flowing light blue chair. Gao Qicheng sat down on it. Miraculously, his pants didn't get wet at all. After the chair was formed, the tall and thin man repeated the action again. In a few seconds, there was a chair like that behind Yu Fan. Classmate, sit down. Gao Qicheng made a gesture of invitation. Yu Fan didn't refuse anything and sat on it. It had a jade-like texture and was very comfortable to sit on in the summer. Let me introduce you first. My name is Gao Qicheng. I am Gao Kasheng's brother. I have average talent, so I started a small business in Kyoto and helped Tianluo Palace with some small things. The man next to me is called Chen Jinmo. He is very powerful. He is the 6th Tianluo in the Tianluo Hall of the Dragon Kingdom. You haven't seen him, but you must have heard of him. Hearing this name, Yu Fan's anus tightened on the stool and he almost jumped out of the chair. Who in the Long Kingdom doesn't know Chen Jinmo? Chen Jinmo who kills people like chopping vegetables and chops people like fish. This is a lingering haze hanging over all criminals. Although he only takes action against the most vicious people, even so, the tragic death of those people will still make everyone who sees it tremble. Once you see Chen Jinmo's murder scene, you will never forget it. This is a widely circulated statement among the people. Haha, don't be so nervous. Lao Mo is quite honest, he just kills a little too many fish. Gao Qicheng said with a smile. After speaking, he turned to look at Gao Kasheng. What conditions did General Ren just impose on Yu Fan? That's right. Gao Kasheng briefly and concisely recounted the conditions Ren Yishu offered to Yu Fan. After listening, Gao Qicheng touched his face with one hand. Okay, the conditions offered by General Ren are indeed attractive. Then the student union should have the same conditions: vice president of the sophomore student union, president of the junior student union. As for graduation, Gao Qicheng paused, and then continued. After graduation, you will be the number 1 preparatory Tianluo, how about it? What did you say? Ren Yishu said loudly. First preparatory Tianluo. This is not your decision. Gao Qicheng, do you think Tianluo Temple is opened by your family? The so-called first reserve Tianluo means that as long as this person reaches level 50 or above, once someone among the 12 Tianluo in the Tianluo Palace retires or dies, then he can immediately fill the vacancy and become the new Tianluo. The gold content of this first reserve Tianluo is much higher than that of a major in the military department. You don't have to worry about it, General. Since I can agree, I will naturally find a way to do it. Facing Ren Yishu, a level 68 expert, Gao Qicheng seemed completely unfazed and said calmly. Besides that, classmate Yu Fan, you can ask for any conditions you have. I can satisfy them. You guy, you don't even know what's special about Yu Fan, why are you so reckless? Ren Yishu said angrily. Gao Qicheng didn't see Yu Fan's big exam, how could he dare to pay such a high price to win over Yu Fan? Gao Qicheng didn't care. Don't I trust your judgment, General Ren? Since General Ren is the talent you like, it must be worth it. Me, you. Ren Yishu was so angry that he almost vomited blood. But Yu Fan can't control that much. The loan he owes to the system is still rising. First, I want to establish the Ninja Professional Guild in my freshman year, and I will be the president. Quote. Second, I can be the president of the student union or the military department, but after graduation, I cannot be forced to join the Tianluo Palace or the military department. Third, I want to borrow a sum of money, 90 million dragon national coins, and I will pay it back to you before you graduate from college. After hearing these 3 requests from Yu Fan, Ren Yishu suddenly felt a little confused. The first and third items don't matter. The Ninja Guild must be built, otherwise Yu Fan's many skills would be wasted. Not to mention the third one, tens of millions of Longguo coins, even if he pays it himself, it's not a big deal. It's just that this second item is a big problem. Although the chairman of the Ministry of Armament is still a student, he already has a lot of military secrets. If he switches to Tianluodian again, it will have a huge impact on the military department. Just when Ren Yishu hesitated. No problem, deal. Gao Qicheng agreed without hesitation. I'll send someone from the guild to make arrangements right away, and I'll make sure you get it done before you start school. As for the money, Gao Qicheng took out a card from his pocket. There are 300 million in the card. Just treat it as a personal gift from me. You don't have to pay it back. Yu Fan looked at the card handed over by Gao Qicheng and was stunned for a moment. So tough. I'm a real big brother. Okay, Brother Chang, I will be a member of your student union from now on. Don't tell me. As soon as I saw you, I felt very friendly. Of course, that's what it says. I will accept the money you give me, but if you really want me to do something, I have to weigh it carefully. Yu Fan deeply understands the essence of various departments and offices in his previous life. Gao Qicheng and Gao Kasheng were stunned by Yu Fan's 180-degree turn. Oh, I really saw the right person. My little classmate is also a capable person. If you are short of money in the future, come to Chengsheng Group to find me. Gao Qicheng was also beaming. He might not have other things, but he only had this money. As for Yu Fan saying that he cannot be forced to join Tianluodian after graduating from college, he is not worried at all. 4 years is not a short period of time. Anything can happen in these 4 years. Even if it is agreed now that Yu Fan will join Tianluodian in 4 years, so what? No one knows what will happen then. Rather than worrying about what will happen in a few years, it is better to make the best of the current situation. Alas, General Ren, you still don't understand. Gao Qicheng smiled and looked at Ren Yishu, who looked extremely ugly. Ren Yishu's expression was gloomy and uncertain. He absolutely did not want to see Yu Fan join Tianluodian. But in the final analysis, this kind of thing still depends on Yu Fan's own attitude, and he can't force Yu Fan to do anything. Even if he wanted to take Yu Fan away by force, it would be almost impossible with Chen Jinmo by his side. After thinking for a few seconds, Ren Yishu sighed and shook his sleeves fiercely. Don't think you won. Yu Fan's value is higher than you think. You can't grasp it, Gao Qicheng. After saying that, he turned around and left. He wanted to have a meeting with other senior officials of the military department immediately. Go well, General Ren. You are fast, so I won't send you away. As for whether you are sure or not, you have to hold it before you know it, right? Gao Qicheng stood up from the water chair and hugged Ren Yishu's back. The etiquette is quite good and there is nothing wrong with it. In a few breaths, Ren Yishu disappeared into the horizon. Then I'll leave first. I want to go back and report today's events to my master. Gao Kasheng said to Gao Kasheng. Well, you go ahead. Brother Chang, if nothing happens, I'll leave first, Yu Fan said. Although he agreed to Gao Qicheng's proposal and took his money. But it would be better to wait until the results are released to discuss matters such as admissions and admission to the student union. Hey, little friend Yu Fan, they can go their own way, don't leave in such a hurry. Gao Qicheng put his arm around Yu Fan's shoulders. Do you think you could show me a little bit? What? It's the skills you used in the big exam, right? The ones that surprised General Ren when he saw them. This, Yu Fan was a little reluctant. I wasted a lot of time on today's exam, and it's getting late now. And he was a little tired too. The most important thing is that he is now anxious to go back and see what else he can buy with the money Gao Qicheng gave him. He had just tried it, and the money in the card was already his. He has used the money in his card to repay more than 80 million yuan in loans from the system. There are now more than 200 million left, which can buy a lot of skills, and even enough to buy a good character template. Of course, top-notch ones like King Guy are still unaffordable. It's really too late today, why not forget it? My sister is still at home waiting for me to finish eating. Yu Fan moved out of Su Rao. Today is the end of his big exam, and Su Rao will definitely come back from the dungeon area early. Gao Qicheng looked up at the dim sky. It's true what you said, it's indeed getting late. He touched his chin, and then continued, but I'm in a hurry. There's someone I want to meet tonight. Then, he reached into his wallet and took out another card. How about this? I'll pay you 5 million to buy your time for dinner tonight. You see, I won't make it too difficult for you. Yu Fan was angry at that time. Rich people, do you think you can buy everything with money? No matter how rich you are, you can't buy me the time to have dinner with Su Rao. It's better not to. I don't want my sister to wait too long. 10 million. Gao Qicheng took out another card. No, Brother Chang, I think you have misunderstood me. In fact, 20 million. The number of cards becomes 4. Quote. Ha 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 ha. Brother Chang, you are so good at reading people. Yu Fan took the 4 black cards. Are you kidding me? I'll get 20 million for missing one dinner. Anyone who doesn't do this business is a fool. To be honest, at 10 million, Yu Fan was already a little overwhelmed. This is what happened in this world. If it were 5 million in the previous life, Yu Fan would have agreed instantly. Hesitating for even a second is disrespectful to money. With 20 million, he now has 240 million. The range of options available for buying skills has become wider again. Then your sister's dinner. It's okay, it's a small thing, just eat later. Okay, let's go, let's find a suitable place. Gao Qicheng signaled Yu Fan to stand next to Chen Jinmo and asked him to fly with Yu Fan. Yu Fan looked at Chen Jinmo's expressionless face and cold eyes, and instinctively rejected him. You go ahead, I'll be there soon. Huh, what do you mean? Gao Qicheng was a little confused. They haven't even decided where they are going yet, so where did they say, they'll be there soon? This is also a demonstration of skills. Yu Fan said concisely. Gao Qicheng looked at Yu Fan curiously and then nodded. Okay, let's find a place with less people first, and you can come over as soon as possible. After saying that, he and Chen Jinmo took off into the air and flew quickly to the edge of Luo City. They wouldn't have seen that not long after they flew out, Yu Fan's body turned into a flower and disappeared from the spot. It's the Flying Thunder God technique. In this world, the upper limit of Flying Thunder God's movement distance is the same as the upper limit of perceived distance. As long as Yu Fan can sense the mark, he can teleport there. In the Fourth Ninja War, Obito and Kakashi fought in Kamui space. Minato could not sense Obito, so he could not teleport there. And when Obito comes out of Kamui space, Minato can sense his presence again and teleport to attack him. Given Yu Fan's current level of 32 and no sensory ninjutsu, his ultimate teleportation distance is about 1/5 of Luo City. Of course, if the level is subsequently improved, or if perceptual ninjutsu is learned, the upper limit of this distance will definitely increase greatly. In fact, if Yu Fan makes many marks in a certain area, then the limit of this distance is basically infinite. It's like Yu Fan's current location is in the east of Luo City, but Yu Fan's home is in the west. Yu Fan only needs to find a few transfer points in the middle to fly back quickly, which is only a little slower than teleporting back at once. After a few breaths and 5 consecutive jumps, Yu Fan teleported to his bed. Sister, I have something to do tonight, you eat first, don't wait for me. Yu Fan yelled downstairs. After roaring, he activated Flying Thunder God again, repeated the previous points, and then returned to the previous position, leaving only a confused Su Rao. Closing his eyes, Yu Fan regained his composure and immediately felt that the mark he had just made moved to a hillside outside the East City. That's right, Yu Fan left a Flying Thunder God mark on Gao Qicheng's body. Just when Gao Qicheng hugged Yu Fan's arm. Sometimes it is much easier to leave a mark on a living creature than to mark a fixed location. Yu Fan thought, and the next second, he was behind Gao Qicheng. The moment Yu Fan appeared, Chen Jinmo suddenly burst out with a strong murderous intention that seemed to be real. Hey, it's me, friendly army, friendly army. Yu Fan quickly raised his hands and shouted. Gao Qicheng was obviously startled by this sudden situation and turned to look at Yu Fan in surprise. Oh, why are you so awesome, so awesome? He showed his thumb and said, good job. At the same time, an unspeakable fear filled his heart. In the Dragon Kingdom, there are many people like him who are not strong but hold power. When they travel, they usually bring at least 1 or 2 bodyguards whom they can trust. And every time he, Gao Qicheng, goes out, he almost always takes Chen Jinmo, the 6th heavenly law, with him. It can be regarded as the highest standard among all bodyguards. He himself felt that it must be foolproof. But just now, Yu Fan, a boy in his early 30s, unexpectedly appeared behind him without anyone noticing. If this kid deliberately wants to kill himself, if he takes action as soon as he moves over, can Chen Jinmo really stop him? Gao Qicheng felt anxious. Now he is only at level 30. If Yu Fan grows up in the future and wants to assassinate politicians and ministers who are weak in power, wouldn't he be able to do it easily? Hiss, it's scary to think about it. Just when Gao Qicheng was confused, Yu Fan pointed to the corner of his clothes, where there was a small Magatama seal on it. With Yu Fan's current number of skills, he is not afraid of others knowing the skill mechanism of Flying Thunder God. On the one hand, in addition to Flying Thunder God, he also has Kamui 8 inner gates and other high-speed displacement methods, and the latter two do not require marking. On the other hand, one of the biggest advantages of Flying Thunder God is that it is difficult to detect. If the enemy pays too much attention to the mark of Flying Thunder God, the user of Flying Thunder God will seize the flaw. What does this mark mean? For the first time, Gao Qicheng felt as if he had never seen the world. I can teleport to a marked place within a certain distance, Yu Fan said calmly. Gao Qicheng's eyes widened and his mouth opened slightly. So, how far is this distance? It's probably as far as 1/5 of Los Angeles. Gao Qicheng nodded thoughtfully. Being able to teleport so far. And the conditions of use are so simple. If Chen Jinmo could use this skill, wouldn't he get rid of whoever he wanted? After a while, Gao Qicheng came back from his thoughts. Okay, let's try 2 more combat skills. With my 20 million, I can't just focus on one skill, right? Yu Fan pursed his lips and thought to himself, this is Flying Thunder God, if you watch it for 20 million times, you will make a lot of money. It depends on combat skills, then. Susanoo. Yu Fan's eyes flashed red, and Mangekyō patterns appeared in his pupils. Skeletons appeared layer by layer around Yu Fan's body like building blocks, covering his whole body like a god descending. This is the smallest half-length Susanoo, just a skeleton a few meters tall. This is the wild, and there's no guarantee that no one else will be around. If it gets too big, it might be a bit troublesome for others to notice. Gao Qicheng looked at Susanoo summoned by Yu Fan and didn't know what to say for a moment. He always felt that Chen Jinmo's skills were weird enough. Unexpectedly, Yu Fan's skills were even more outrageous. This thing that protects Yu Fan like a defensive shield actually looks like a human skeleton. There was a chilly atmosphere in the woods in the evening. What scene did Gao Qicheng think he had never seen before? But it was still a bit creepy at the moment. Yu Fan, your skills are really strange. I've never seen anything like this before. How long can normal conditions last? How's the defense? Can I use it to attack? Gao Qicheng was obviously interested and asked several questions in one go. Forehead. Yu Fan didn't know which question to start with. How about this? Let Chen Jinmo test your hardness. What do you think? Don't worry, he will be measured. Brother Chang, can you be more careful when you speak? What does it mean to test my hardness? This is very ambiguous. Yu Fan complained in his heart. However, this era is not an era of internet surfing, so others generally do not have the same association as Yu Fan. Yu Fan nodded slightly and agreed. He just wanted to get it over with and go home for dinner. Gao Qicheng gave Chen Jinmo a look. Chen Jinmo nodded, waved his right hand, and picked up a light green bone spear. Before Yu Fan could speak, he raised his bone spear and threw it at Susanoo. The bone spear flew so fast that Yu Fan could only barely detect its trajectory with his pupil power. Bang! The bone spear pierced Susan's ribs on the left side, leaving a shallow crack on it. This time it has the intensity of level 278. Chen Jinmo said forcefully to Gao Qi. Gao Qicheng was stunned. Based on his understanding of his bodyguard, the strength he mentioned at level 278 is definitely not the strength that a person at level 278 can achieve. Rather, it refers to the strength that can directly kill level 27 or 8 professionals instantly. And such a blow could only leave an almost negligible small crack in this large frame. Gao Qicheng thought it would be outrageous, but he didn't expect it to be so outrageous. This defense is too pervert. Compared with Yu Fan's move, the Sacred Shield Guard, skill of the Paladin, school of the Guardian, profession in Sound Country, which is known as absolute defense, is simply not worth mentioning. Come again. Gao Qicheng wanted to see how strong this defense could be. Bang, bang, bang. Quote. Level 30, level 31, level 32, level 35. Only when the intensity reached level 35 inches as mentioned by Chen Jinmo could the attack leave relatively effective damage on Susanoo. And I don't think it's possible to crush Susan without hitting him 4 or 5 times in the same place. Amazing, really amazing. Gao Qicheng couldn't help but admire. Yu Fan himself is only level 32. This attack can make ordinary level 35 professionals unable to even break through the defense in an instant. No wonder Ren Yishu values Yu Fan so much, it's really scary. Gao Qicheng was very excited. According to his original plan, Yu Fan was asked to show off a few skills and he was about to leave. But now, he really wanted to see Yu Fan's skills again. I said, little friend Yu Fan, if this is not the case, how about you try your best and compete with this 6th heavenly Luo? Yu Fan was stunned and immediately refused. He didn't want to compete with the murderous Chen Jinmo. No, I didn't say we wanted to spar at the beginning. I am a very principled person, and I generally don't fight with others easily. Yu Fan suddenly stopped as he spoke. If you insist on letting me spar with him, that's not impossible. But that's another price. Add, money. Yu Fan said word by word. Haha, okay, I like a down-to-earth person like you. Gao Qicheng laughed angrily at Yu Fan. This little guy is even more greedy for money than when Gao Qicheng was young. But it would be a bit boring to just give a fixed price, don't you think? Then how do you want to add money? You compete with Chen Jinmo. Chen Jinmo only uses the same level of strength as you, that is, he only uses level 32 strength, and he also only uses skills before level 32. If you can force Chen Jinmo to use one more level of strength, I will give you 10 million, how about it? Gao Qicheng suggested with a smile. Naturally, he had his own calculations for making this suggestion. Although Yu Fan's talent is powerful and his various skills are amazing, after all, he is just a student who has never killed anyone or been on the battlefield. Chen Jinmo may have killed more people than Yu Fan has eaten. Combat is not just about skills, combat experience is also crucial. Not to mention using the same level, even if Chen Jinmo only uses level 25 strength, Yu Fan may not be able to beat him if he really starts fighting. And he believed that Yu Fan would definitely agree to his proposal. How can a young genius not be frivolous? Yu Fan must have felt that he was invincible at his level and could easily force Chen Jinmo to use a few more levels of strength. In this case, Yu Fan fell into his trap. In the end, maybe not even a penny can be added. Unfortunately, Gao Qicheng thought he was facing a young bird who had just graduated from high school. Little did he know that what he was facing was a veteran who had been in the 996 workplace for 20 years. How could Yu Fan not know what Gao Qicheng was thinking? Old fox, are you plotting against me? You only saw one flying thunder god and one Susanoo and you thought you had me. I think you still don't understand what cheating means. System, what is the maximum loan I can borrow? 300 million. Good, I want a loan of 260 million now. Plus my original 240 million, a total of 500 million to buy the Hitaki Kakashi template. Loan successful. The template purchase is successful and the skill tree has been added to the host's panel. The most comprehensive character in the entire Hokage is undoubtedly the copy ninja Hitaki Kakashi. With his template, Yu Fan will have no shortcomings. There are all kinds of escape techniques, no matter how powerful they are. Looking at the terrifyingly large skill tree, Yu Fan raised the corners of his mouth slightly. In this way, even if he faces Chen Jinmo, he will be absolutely foolproof. As for this money, it must have been Gao Qicheng. Since Gao Qicheng plotted against him first, no wonder he was dark-hearted. If you can force Chen Jinmo to use one more level of strength, I will give you 10 million, how about it? No problem, deal. Seeing that Yu Fan really agreed, Gao Qicheng laughed. I won't take advantage of you either. Before I fight, I might as well tell you that Lao Mo's profession is the extremely rare hidden profession, Blood Alley Ghost. I heard that you had good grades in high school, so you must know something about this profession. Yu Fan was stunned. Most of Tianluo's career information in Tianluo Palace is public. But only the occupation of the creepy 6th heaven Luo Chen Jinmo has never been known, and even some clues that can be used for speculation can't be found. I didn't expect it to be for this reason. He is a Blood Harbor ghost. According to Yufan's understanding, the skills of this profession were mastered by a group of Caribbean pirates with abnormal minds. According to their rules, no matter who you are, how distinguished your status is, or how much money you have, as long as you want to learn the skill of Blood Harbor Ghost, you must have been a pirate in the Caribbean for 15 years. In this way, you are considered one of their people and they can let you learn skills. These pirates are very stubborn and will never give in on this point. As for Chen Jinmo, a Blood Harbor Ghost, in his 60s, it is self-evident how he learned the skills. Tian Luo of Tian Luo Palace has been a pirate for more than 10 years. Of course, this kind of thing cannot be made public openly. It's just. Yufan frowned slightly. According to the information, the skills of this profession should only be developed to level 45. There is simply not enough support for Chen Jinmo to rise to more than 60 levels. Are you ready, Yufan-san? Gao Qicheng's voice brought Yufan back to reality. Yufan nodded. Okay, let's get started. The moment the words fell, Chen Jinmo's whole body temperament has undergone earth-shaking changes. Dark green water surged crazily from his eyes, nose, ears and mouth, wrapping around his whole body. Different from Susano's evil behavior, at this moment, his whole body exuded an extremely cold aura. This kind of breath can only remind people of one thing, and that is death. After the dark green water completely enveloped Chen Jinmo, he lightly tapped the ground with his right foot and pushed his body back a step. Something magical happened. The air around Chen Jinmo's body suddenly rippled with layers of water, and then he just dived into the air. That's right, it just dived in, just like a fish diving into the water. With the power of Mangekyō's insight, Yufan could clearly see the ripples left in the air when Chen Jinmo moved. Sneak in the deep pond. It turns out that this feeling is really suitable for assassination. Quote. When Yufan saw this skill in the information before, he couldn't imagine what it looked like. But now that he saw it on the spot, it was indeed magical. Secret Pond, the level 25 skill of Blood Harbor Ghost, allows the user to dive into the ghost waters in the air, gain a camouflage effect, and can attack reality. This skill is good, you can have it. What? Can you learn to be a pirate? What doesn't exist is mine if I see it. Sharingan, copy. When Yufan copied the skill Stealth in the deep pond, a bone spear with dark green water suddenly shot out from the air behind him. Bang! The bone spear stabbed Susano's ribs hard, causing a large crack. Chen Jinmo had never used any skills before and just relied on strength to throw the ball, in order to test the hardness of Susano. But the bone spear just fired was a skill. Bone penetrating spike attaching ghost water to the bone spear greatly increases the penetration ability of the attack. Yufan looked around, and although he could detect the ripples left by Chen Jinmo's movement, he still couldn't pinpoint his location. If he were allowed to fire a few more bone-through spikes, Susanna might not be able to remain intact. This feeling of, the enemy is in the dark and I am in the light, makes Yufan very unhappy. Gao Qicheng watched this scene from a distance and didn't feel too surprised. Secret Pond, this skill is an absolute magical skill. It almost determines Chen Jinmo's fighting style. Sneak into the shadows and wait for the opportunity, like a cautious hunter. Even against other strong players above level 60, this trick has been tried and tested, let alone Yufan. Just when Gao Qicheng felt that everything was as expected, he suddenly froze. Wah! What? His eyes widened suddenly and he looked at Yufan. Dark green water began to flow out of his 7 orifices, exactly like Chen Jinmo. The corner of Yufan's mouth raised slightly. As we all know, the fastest way to solve the situation of, the enemy is in the dark and I am in the light, is not to uncover the enemy hiding in the dark, but to sneak into the dark yourself. In this way, you can't see me and I can't see you. Very fair. Secret Pond activates. Yufan followed Chen Jinmo's example and pushed his body back. In an instant, a strange feeling of detachment enveloped the whole body. Yufan felt as if he had entered a vast dark green ocean. This ocean overlaps with the real world, and Yufan is like Schrödinger's cat, being in these two worlds at the same time. He is in a superposition of Yufan in reality and Yufan in ghost waters. The difference is that Yufan's status can be determined by his own will. He wanted to appear in reality, right in reality, wanted to appear in this ghostly water right here. This feeling is almost like a weakened version of the right-eye Kamui. It just turned Kamui space into ghost waters. Wait, Kamui space. Quote, Yufan suddenly thought of something. Kakashi originally used Obito's Sharingan, so he and Obito shared the same Kamui space. Now he can enter this ghost water by copying Chen Jinmo's ghost pond stealth skill. Doesn't that mean? Thinking of this, Yufan gently paddled the water and looked around. Then, he saw a confused Chen Jinmo not far away. From Chen Jinmo's perspective, it's probably the same feeling as a stranger suddenly appearing at home. At least Obito knew in advance that Kakashi could enter his Kamui space. But Chen Jinmo was different. He was completely unprepared. But Yufan didn't want to wait for him to recover, and the handprints in his hands flew up. Water-style Water Dragon Bomb. After all, a sparring session is just a sparring session, and Yufan doesn't really want to use killing moves like Amaterasu or Kamui. Although Chen Jinmo is level 64 and should not be killed by him, there is always a possibility. It would be bad if Chen Jinmo was careless and was killed by himself. The dark green water quickly condensed around Yufan, forming a huge water dragon with impressive momentum. I'll wipe it. Yufan was stunned. The water dragon bomb condensed from ghost seawater exudes the aura of death, which is much stronger than Yufan expected. This secret pond skill seems to go well with various water-style ninjutsu. Yufan suddenly realized, in the future, he can completely use the water from this ghost water to activate various water-style skills. Not only can it increase the scale of ninjutsu, but it can even give water style its own penetration effect. This is too awesome. I just don't know if my excessive use of the water here will affect Chen Tianluo. Water Dragon Bomb roared and rushed towards Chen Jinmo, forcibly pulling him back from his dazed state. There is no doubt that Chen Jinmo's ability to control this water area is definitely not inferior to Yufan's. I saw him open his arms, and then quickly close them. The sea water on both sides was like two huge hands, slamming on Yufan's Water Dragon Bomb. Bang! A huge wave of water erupted at the collision point, and both the big hand and the Water Dragon Bomb disappeared. Boy, you really surprised me. Chen Jinmo's hoarse voice reached Yufan's ears through layers of water in the ghost waters. This was the first time Yufan heard him say so many words in one breath. It's amazing that you can enter my ghost waters, and you can actually control these waters. Quote, but it's a pity, no matter what, this is my home court. The words fell. Chen Jinmo's figure suddenly rushed out, much faster than in reality. It seems that the distance traveled in this ghost water is not completely equivalent to the distance traveled in reality. Humph, compete with me in speed. I don't even need to open the 8 inner gates. Yufan smiled disdainfully, stomping his right foot down sharply. The whole body moved forward 10 centimeters. This is completely different from what Yufan thought. What happened? I don't think Emperor Guy can run very fast in the water. Why can't it work when I'm here? Mud, am I going to swim here? Although the secret pond skill allows Yufan to breathe in this water. But this skill didn't let Yufan know how to swim at all. Although Yufan has lived in 2 lives, no matter which life he was in, he has never learned to swim. I have only been to the swimming pool a few times in my previous life, and I only splashed around casually in the diving area. If I had to say it, I would only know how to swim at a dog paddle style and at turtle speed. Chen Jinmo had already arrived in front of Yufan with the bone spear. Yufan had no time to think and exited the ghost waters directly. The feeling of stripping came again. The feeling of being grounded makes Yufan extremely at ease. The space in front of him fluctuated, and Chen Jinmo's bone spear shot out from it, dragging a long chain, making a clang, dangkang sound. Yufan was about to dodge when he suddenly realized that the chain behind the bone spear was made of metal. This was his chance. Chen Jinmo's greatest reliance is hiding in the ghost waters, making it difficult for others to attack him. But this move is just like Kamui Hollow, it will reveal huge flaws when attacking others. Yufan no longer hesitated and directly opened the 8 inner gates to increase his speed by a huge amount, then dodged and grabbed Chen Jinmo's weapon bone spear while dodging the bone-penetrating spike. Hey, I caught you. Lightning-style thunder beast chasing Fang. The lightning in Yufan's right hand flashed, making an electric sound of squeak, squeak, and then he slapped the iron chain with his palm. A wolf-like monster made of thunder and lightning rushed into the void along the iron chain on Chen Jinmo's bone spear at a high speed that was difficult to distinguish with the naked eye. Lightning style can restrain all water-based skills. Chen Jinmo is hiding in the water. Even if he lets go of the chain in his hand, he can't avoid it. Although it can't cause him any substantial harm, but the moment Thunder Beast Chai Ya was released, the iron chain that was originally only half exposed appeared completely in reality. Chen Jinmo appeared more than 10 meters away holding the other end of the chain. His hands were a little burnt, apparently from being electrocuted by the Thunder Beast Chai Ya. Sure enough, Yufan shook his hand. Yufan noticed it when he used the skill, Stealth in the Deep Pond, for the first time. The implementation method of this skill is fundamentally different from Kamui. Kamui connect the real space and Kamui space with Mangekyō Sharingan, thereby realizing the mutual transmission of the two spaces. Deep Pond is completely different. It is more like a ghost water, in another time and space that overlaps with reality through some kind of imagery. The user is in these two spaces at the same time. When you move in the ghost waters, you will also move in reality, and attacks launched in the ghost waters can also appear directly in reality. This method sounds awesome, but it actually has a fatal flaw. It's just extremely unstable. Once attacked by the enemy from reality, it is equivalent to being observed from reality. The box containing the cat is opened, and the superposition state disappears at this moment. Ghost water will collapse directly, and the user will have to appear in reality. Moreover, people who are observed from the real world cannot re-enter the ghost waters in a short time. Far away, watching this scene, Gao Qicheng felt breathless, as if all the blood in his body was about to solidify. Chen Jinmo was actually dragged out of the ghost waters by Yufan. After so many years, he has seen Chen Jinmo fight more than once or twice. Most people couldn't resist at all and were killed by Chen Jinmo. I have never met anyone who can drag him out of the ghost sea. Even he didn't know it was possible. Chen Jinmo looked at Yufan with a complicated expression, his palms aching. He knew that he had actually lost. If he only used his level 32 strength, he would not be able to defend himself this time. He would be electrocuted and unable to move for several minutes. How did you suddenly become so fast? Chen Jinmo asked curiously. Yufan's speed when he suddenly dodged his own attack and grabbed the chain of the bone spear was definitely not what a level 32 person should be. Of course there are skills that can enhance speed. Yufan answered vaguely. Strengthening speed. Chen Jin read it silently. Hey, okay, let me see how fast you can be. Phantom down. Chen Jinmo became unusually interested. Now that he has used more than level 32 strength, he no longer has to worry so much, he might as well use some high-level skills. The moment Chen Jinmo finished speaking, dozens of figures could be seen around Chen Jinmo. They formed a circle and surrounded Yufan. What the hell, a clone? Just when Yufan didn't know what he was doing, a bone-penetrating spike suddenly shot out from the figure behind Yufan. Very fast and very powerful. But with Kamui Hollow here, this kind of physical attack that can be reflected cannot hurt Yufan. Kamui is naturally capable of defeating physical assassins like Blood Harbor Ghost. But Yufan doesn't intend to waste time with him either. He jumped directly into the air, intending to shoot great fire extinguishing below. No matter how weird his skills are, AoE coverage is enough anyway. But what Yufan didn't expect was that when he jumped up, the large circle of figures also jumped into the air. The relative position has not changed at all. Bone-penetrating spike is still shooting at Yufan from all directions, and it seems that it will not stop until Yufan is shot to death. What the hell is this skill? Can you still lock your head? Yufan looked around, looking at the large circle of Chen Jinmo's figures, feeling a little confused. In battles, knowing the opponent's skill information and not knowing the opponent's skill information are completely different things. Once you know the opponent's skill information, you can just look for opportunities and flaws. If you don't know the skill information, you have to test the opponent's skill mechanism before you can counterattack. This is reality, not a game. If you don't test well in the game, the worst you can do is give the opponent a head. In reality, if there is no good test, then it will be restarted directly. Therefore, as a qualified strong person, in addition to being strong, you must also have the ability to obtain new information in a timely manner. Not only do we need to understand what new skills have been developed in those mainstream professions, also try to learn about those hidden professions and skills that are less popular. Because no one knows what profession their next life and death opponent will be. Therefore, in this world, relevant intelligence about skills and occupations is an extremely valuable resource. Just like Chen Jinmo's profession is Blood Harbor Ghost, he also has the skills and specific effects of Blood Harbor Ghost. This information is definitely rare information. If Yufan were sold on the black market, he would definitely be able to fetch a high price. The things Yufan learned in high school or found on free materials were basically public or relatively outdated information. Of course, among this information, there is no relevant information about the phantom drag skill that Yufan is facing now. All they have is the name of the profession, Blood Harbor Ghost, and some interesting facts. Yufan frowned slightly as he looked at the circle of clones surrounding him. Among all skills, headlock skills can be said to be the most difficult to crack. Just like the Indian flying pancake skill of Lava Beast, once it is released, it will chase you and have to hit you. Very disgusting. If it's in a game, the preferred way to deal with this skill is to find a way to enter the unselectable state. Cannot be selected. Yufan's thoughts were racing. When entering the Kamui space, it should be considered unselectable, right? It's the same as jumping out of the minimap type of skills. Thinking of this, Yufan didn't hesitate too much and directly used his right eye Kamui to send his whole body into the Kamui space. At the last moment of fully entering, Yufan saw that Chen Jinmo's separated figure had indeed disappeared. Sure enough, the games I have played for so many years are not white hits. The corners of Yufan's mouth raised slightly. After staying in Kamui space for about a second, Yufan returned to reality. Dang rang, dang rang. As soon as Yufan appeared, the annoying sound of the chains clashing came again. Why isn't it over yet? Yufan looked around, and the circle of expressionless figures that had disappeared just now appeared around him again. Bone-piercing spikes were fired from all directions again, and Yufan had to continue to run Kamui Hollow at full strength. How? It's over, little friend Yufan. My skill is a level 35 skill. You can't break it. Besides, I've already lost level 3 to you. You won. Chen Jinmo's hoarse voice sounded intermittently from around him. He knows best how difficult his skill is. Different from the general headlock attack skill, Phantom Drag is actually a field skill. As long as the target of the released skill appears in this area, he cannot escape his tracking. If he wants to escape, there is only one way, which is to move at a speed far exceeding his, until he breaks out of the range of Phantom Drag. If Yufan uses the teleportation skill to move continuously, he may be able to crack it. But the problem is that it is impossible for ordinary people to think that they can crack this skill as long as they go far enough away from here. They will continue to struggle in this area until they die, just like Yufan now. This is the advantage of rare professions. You know your enemies, but your enemies don't know you. Of course, this time, he didn't understand Yufan at all. Chen Jinmo looked at Yufan, who was unharmed despite being attacked continuously in the Phantom Drag formation, and felt it was amazing. But such an ability would definitely consume a lot of money, and he felt that Yufan wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Can't break it. It's too early to say this. Yufan took out 4 kunai and threw them in the 4 directions of southeast, northwest and northwest. Since even entering the unselectable state couldn't interrupt the locking of this skill, he might as well not interrupt it at all. After the kunai flew a certain distance, with a thought, Yufan activated Flying Thunder God instantly, and moved to the kunai in the north in a flash. In the past moment, activate it again, jump to another kunai, repeat this, flashing and jumping in the air. At the same time, Yufan fully mobilized the Mangekyō Sharingan to use its insight ability. Finally, after the 4 shurikens opened a relatively large distance, Yufan vaguely saw the working principle of Chen Jinmo's skill. So that's it, it's not the formation that moves, but Chen Jinmo himself. Yufan suddenly realized. From his perspective, the moment he flashed from the kunai in the north to the kunai in the south, the human formation actually disappeared. Chen Jinmo emerged from it, and then moved to his side to redeploy the shadow formation at a speed not much slower than the flying thunder god's teleportation. This speed is probably the effect of skills, not Chen Jinmo himself. The essence of his skill is not locking, according to the rules, but tracking. Just because it is too fast, it will give people the illusion that they are always locked. Just like many years ago, people always thought that the speed of light was infinite and that it could teleport. But in fact it is not. No matter how fast light moves, it always has a specific speed. No wonder Chen Jinmo said at the beginning that he wanted to see how fast I was. That's what happened. Yu Fan touched his chin, and a bold idea appeared in his mind. Since Chen Jinmo will reveal his true body when moving, and then move towards himself, then he can seize this opportunity and attack Chen Jinmo during this time period. Since you can't solve this skill, then solve the person who released the skill. Take it into consideration. Yu Fan dropped a kunai at his feet, and then moved towards the kunai he threw farthest away. This kunai was thrown from high in the air, and when it landed, it was at least several kilometers away from Yu Fan. When the distance is stretched to such a length, Yu Fan clearly felt that the silhouette array's appearance around him was not real-time, with a delay of at least 0.5 seconds. Enough. After the experiment was completed, Yu Fan flashed back to where he came from. At the moment of landing, water-style Grand Falls technique. Dark green liquid surged out from Yu Fan's back. Chen Jinmo can't enter the ghost waters in a short time, but Yu Fan can still do it. The biggest disadvantage of Chen Jinmo's phantom drag skill is that he will definitely move in a straight line towards his opponent at the fastest speed, and he has no control at all. Yu Fan releases the waterfall technique in the direction he came from. The super wide water style will definitely hit Chen Jinmo in this state. Although water style is not very lethal, water has great resistance and can slow down Chen Jinmo. Of course, more importantly, this water can conduct electricity. Yu Fan urged Sharingan to ultimate, and clearly saw Chen Jinmo's figure still approaching him very quickly after being hit by the Great Falls technique. You don't have to come this way, I'll go find you. 8 inner gates, the 4th gate, injury gate, opens. Quote. Lightning-style Chidori. Yu Fan's body heated up rapidly, and his aura suddenly rose to over level 40. The drooping right hand was filled with lightning. The electric sound of chi, chi, resounded across the sky, like 1,000 birds singing in unison. Chidori is a ninjutsu that can greatly increase the speed of the caster. Now add the huge speed increase of 8 inner gates. Yu Fan stepped out, like a blue lightning. In the blink of an eye, you can catch up with the water flow of the water-style Grand Falls technique released in advance. 8 inner gates plus Chidori. This strike is as fast as lightning. Chen Jinmo, you can't avoid it. Chapter 81. The waterfall recedes. The sound of 1,000 birds chirping disappeared. The entire grove fell into an eerie silence. Yu Fan's right hand was inserted into Chen Jinmo's left chest, and about a centimeter was inserted into it. At this moment, blood was flowing out. Both the clothes and the skin around the wound were scorched. Chen Jinmo finally stopped being expressionless. He stared and looked at Yu Fan's hand on his chest in disbelief. If he hadn't pushed his body functions to the limit at the last moment and still maintained a strength of about level 35. At this moment, Yu Fan's hand didn't stop here like this, but pierced directly through his heart. Chen Jinmo, the 6th heavenly Luo of the Tianluo Palace. I almost died at the hands of this level 32 junior. You, what is your move? After a while, Chen Jinmo murmured and asked. Yu Fan took back his hand and wiped it on his clothes. I have a secret technique that can increase my body's strength by more than 10 levels in a short period of time, and greatly increase my speed. And the lightning skill I use to attack can also greatly increase the speed. The superposition of the two creates such an effect. Yu Fan explained roughly. Gao Qicheng hurried over from the side. Oh, why, how did it end up like this? Gao Qicheng looked at Chen Jinmo's tragic situation and couldn't laugh or cry. According to his original plan, when Chen Jinmo took action, he should have tried out all of Yu Fan's skills in 3 strokes, 5 divisions, and 2 divisions. Unexpectedly, there were many accidents and it ended up like this. He looked at Yu Fan seriously. Now he finally understood what Ren Yishu said before leaving. He said that Yu Fan was beyond his grasp. After thinking for a moment, Gao Qicheng took a deep breath and returned to his usual demeanor. Okay, this time I, Gao Qicheng, underestimated you. I'm willing to admit defeat. Lao Mo, how many levels of strength did you use just now? Gao Qicheng asked with a smile. Level 63. Ah, Gao Qicheng's eyes twitched and he turned his head to look at Chen Jinmo. Although he was prepared for heavy bleeding, the result was still a bit difficult for him to accept. Against a level 32 junior, Chen Jinmo was actually forced to use his level 63 strength. This is too exaggerated. Chen Jinmo nodded towards Gao Qicheng. There was nothing he could do, mainly because Yufan's attack was too sudden and he didn't even react. It's too late to use any skills. He can only release most of his strength and use the defense power of a high-level expert to resist this attack. To put it simply, he was able to withstand this attack purely by relying on the numerical difference brought about by level. But no matter what, if you use it, you will use it. Chen Jinmo doesn't bother to lie in a place like this. Even if Gao Qicheng asked him to pay for it in the end, he wouldn't care. 3 minutes later, Yufan took Gao Qicheng's last 300 million back home. Level 63 was 31 million higher than level 32, so he should have given him 310 million. As for the remaining 10 million, I would give it to him later when he had the opportunity, but Yufan angrily told him to pay for it first. As one of the richest people in Kyoto, Gao Qicheng never thought that he would be left penniless before he came out. After several Flying Thunder God transfers, Yufan flew directly back to his bed, then got up and went downstairs. It was getting late, and Su Rao seemed to have already eaten, and there were still a few extra dishes left on the table. Today is such a great harvest. Yufan sighed while eating his meal. Within one day, the level was raised to level 32. I bought 8 inner gates and upgraded it to the 4th gate, Injury Gate. Then I also bought a Kakashi character template. Those who don't owe the system the last penny are actually left with 40 million. Of course, all of this is inseparable from the rewards from Yufan's top brother, Gao Qicheng. After eating and drinking, Yufan felt his belly and lay back comfortably on the bed, planning to have a good sleep before attending the announcement ceremony tomorrow. 2 o'clock in the morning. This is when most people sleep the deepest. The room was dark and quiet, except for the steady rising and falling of Yufan's breathing. At this time, Yufan's heart skipped a beat and he woke up from his sleep. Without any hesitation, he directly activated Flying Thunder God to move under his bed, and then left a shadow clone on the bed. Someone entered his room. This is something Yufan worked on during his few days of rest after returning from the mountains. Use some small chakra threads to arrange around the perimeter of your room. Then connect to the bedside. Once the chakra line is broken, you will be able to sense it. Of course, it was originally just a case of secondary illness, just for fun. I never thought it would actually play any role. Unexpectedly, someone actually sneaked into his room tonight. Then he was discovered by his chakra line. The visitor didn't seem to want to hide his figure at all, and just walked to the bed so blatantly. The momentum is very strong. Judging from Yufan's experience today, it is very likely that he is level 60 again. Yufan turned his head and saw a pair of heavy combat boots. It seems to be a heavy-duty profession. Mada, what's going on? Why are so many big guys coming to see me today? Yufan is very worried. This man came to Yufan's room in the middle of the night and had to make Yufan suspect that he came with bad intentions. And Yufan didn't want any head-on conflict with him at all. Yufan is not so stupid as to take advantage of Chen Jinmo during the day and think that he can really defeat others after reaching more than 30 levels. He knew very well that he could beat Chen Jinmo solely because Chen Jinmo only used level 30 strength at the beginning, and only used up to level 35 skills from beginning to end. If he comes up and throws level 45 ultimate moves and awakenings at random, he will never stand a chance. It would be good to be able to escape unscathed. According to Yufan's thoughts, he really wants to transfer away directly with Flying Thunder God. But the problem is that he is not the only one at home. His sister Su Rao is also at home. Who knows if this person will attack Su Rao if he catches him. Yufan is not an indecisive person. Even if a relative or friend dies unfortunately, he can adjust his mentality and accept it calmly. But one thing must not be compromised. They must not die because of themselves. This is something Yu Fan never wants to see. What Yu Fan regrets now is why he didn't leave a mark of Flying Thunder God on Su Rao's body. Otherwise, he could just transfer over, pick up Su Rao and run away. When Yu Fan hesitated, the man had already bent down and stretched out his hand towards the shadow clone on the bed. Yu Fan knew very well that this was his best opportunity for a sneak attack. Once the shadow clone is broken, the person will realize that they have been deceived, become alert, and never have a chance again. Mad, don't worry. If something goes wrong, we might as well just go into Kamui's space. I have no choice but to get on. Spiral Flash Super Ring Dance Roar 3 Styles. Of course the name of the skill is just nonsense. Yu Fan didn't buy Minato's other skills, and he couldn't afford teacher Yongdame's template. But in fact, this move, Spiral Flash Chao Ranbu Shout 3 Styles, is not essentially a whole ninjutsu. It is a combined application type ninjutsu of the Flying Thunder God technique. Combining the Flying Thunder God technique with the special Yellow Lightning ninjutsu. Throw multiple kunai marked with the Flying Thunder God in battle. Use the Lightning ninjutsu to emit dazzling yellow lightning, obstructing the enemy's sight while quickly completing the assassination. Although Yu Fan does not have the ability to emit yellow lightning, using other skills in conjunction with Flying Thunder God will have similar effects. Multiple Shadow Clone plus Rasengan plus Flying Thunder God. Every corner of this room has marks made by Yu Fan. With the combination of several skills, 7 or 8 Yu Fan's shadow clone instantly appeared in all directions of the intruder. At the same time, each shadow clone holds a Rasengan in its hand. The room that was dark just now was suddenly enveloped in a light blue light. Faced with the sudden change, the intruder was obviously a little stunned and failed to react immediately. In battle, even a moment of confusion may result in failure. The shadow clones swarmed up and completely overwhelmed the intruders. Yu Fan's real body was hiding far away near the balcony to watch the results of shadow clones' battle. If the situation goes bad, he is always ready to release Amaterasu and Kamui and then run away after releasing them. As for whether Amaterasu will burn to death or not, it all depends on luck. Bang, bang, bang. The Rasengan in Shadow Clone's hand was mercilessly clasped on the intruder, making a series of explosions. This kind of explosion means that Rasengan really landed on the ground and did not hit the target. But just when the 7th Shadow Clone was about to slap the Rasengan in his hand, a strong blood energy suddenly erupted from the intruder. Blood energy spurted out from the bottom up, ejecting all the Shadow Clone, turning into a puff of white smoke in midair and disappearing. The blood that burst out was as thick as substance, and the smell of blood could be smelled from a distance. Blood energy explosion. Blood burst. The level 30 skill of Berserker bursts out strong blood from the feet upwards, causing a lot of damage and knocking up enemies around you. It is suitable for use when you are surrounded. Just as Yu Fan was about to throw Amaterasu and Kamui at the opponent, he realized that the opponent was a Berserker. A Berserker, in his 60s or above, is no cabbage. General Ren, Yu Fan asked tentatively. It's me. Hearing this familiar voice, Yu Fan finally breathed a sigh of relief. I said, General Ren, why did you just run into my room without even saying hello? It scared me to death. Really, why didn't I feel that you were scared? Ren Yishu said angrily. If it were someone else who was weak, you would have beaten him to the ground by now. I'm not being cautious. The main reason is that your level is too high and I don't have time to see who it is. Well, that's fine. It's indeed a good thing to be cautious. Ren Yishu nodded. Sooner or later, Yu Fan will make an international appearance, and even download some secret realm dungeons with people from other countries. How valuable his existence is to the Dragon Kingdom is how much of a threat it is to other countries. Other countries, especially the United States and Neon Country, will definitely try to get rid of Yu Fan by any means necessary. Therefore, it is not a bad thing for Yu Fan to maintain a cautious attitude. So, General Ren, why did you come to my room to find me at 2 o'clock in the morning? As soon as he relaxed, sleepiness immediately came over him. Yu Fan yawned widely and asked. Hearing this, Ren Yishu took out a completely black sword hilt from his storage ring, with a faint golden color flowing on it. Holy shit, epic lightsaber. Yu Fan became energetic immediately. If this lightsaber was sold, it would definitely be worth a lot of money. I want to know whether it was you who did it during the day when that boy from the Divine Eye Appraiser was able to use a lightsaber. Quote. Ren Yishu got straight to the point. The reason why he rushed to Kyoto in a hurry and returned to Luo City from Kyoto without stopping. It was because he knew that Yufan's existence was known to Gao Qicheng and Gao Kasheng, and Yilan might know about it tomorrow. At that time, he will probably not give him the Double Dragon Shadow Sword. So he took advantage of his speed. He rushed directly ahead of Gao Qicheng and Gao Kasheng to find Yilan and ask for the lightsaber. Of course it's not enough to have a lightsaber, the most important thing is to be able to use it. Ren Yishu has been thinking about using a lightsaber for so many years. I couldn't wait any longer, so I came to see Yufan in the early morning. Yufan rolled his eyes, thought for a moment, and then nodded. Yes, that's what I did. Ren Yishu immediately became excited. What about me? Can I use it too? Theoretically it's possible. Ren Yishu frowned slightly. What does it mean that it's theoretically possible? It's like this. I have a way to burn some passive skills into other people's eyes, so that they can master this passive skill. Yufan explained seriously. However, if this person's level is too high, the difficulty will become very high, which will cause huge pressure on me and it will take a long time to recover. Of course, these are all nonsense, and the level has no impact on the burning skill of purple demonic eyes. That means it's okay. Ren Yishu was overjoyed and completely ignored what Yufan said later. Didn't I say that this matter puts a lot of pressure on me? Your level is too high. Let me know how long it will take to recover. It will take at least a month. Hey, it's only 1 month. Ren Yishu has lived for hundreds of years, and 1 month is completely insignificant to him. No big deal, I'll give you something. What do you want? Weapons, armor, rings, experience potions, anything. This is what Yufan has been waiting for. Ren Yishu was the first one to come to him to burn passive skills. There will definitely be other strong men coming to him in the future. Therefore, this benchmark must be set. Of course Yufan can help Ren Yishu burn it for free. Once he does this, all the powerful men at the same level as Ren Yishu will come to him in the future. He can only do it for free. I don't want equipment or anything. Why don't you just give me money? I'm short of money, Yufan said sincerely. Lack of money. Ren Yishu looked suspicious. Didn't Gao Qicheng give you a lot of money today? Well, it's a long story, so I won't go into it. Anyway, I'm just short of money. Seeing that Yufan refused to say anything, Ren Yishu nodded indifferently. Money, after becoming stronger, is actually of little use to him. Wherever he goes, he can just swipe his face and rarely ask for money. How much do you want? Ren Yishu asked this most critical question. Yufan licked his lips and thought about the price for a moment. 100 million. Make a deal. Mud, it's over, it's going to be less. Ren Yishu put his hand on the black hilt of the sword. In an instant, 2 black rays of light spread out. They are intertwined and twisted, forming a blade that seems to be alive. Standing nearby, Yufan could clearly feel the dark evil power on the blade. Hey, is this lightsaber mastery of Sword Soul? Ren Yishu swung the Double Dragon Shadow Sword, and left a series of afterimages. It feels like it's nothing more than that. Hearing this, Yufan couldn't help but rolled his eyes. You're grinning to the back of your ears, and you still insist on speaking harshly. Speaking of which, the same was true for Madara back then. After all the hard work, I finally obtained Hashirama's cells and magic chakra. He even put Hashirama's face on his chest, true heartfelt. In the end, I had to insist on saying, this magic chakra is nothing more than that. If I use this Double Dragon Shadow Sword to release the Blade of Blood, I don't know what the effect will be. There are also Rageful Slash and Collapse of Mountains and Ground Slash. Ren Yishu played for 5 or 6 minutes before he stopped because he was still not satisfied. Okay, General Ren, if you have nothing else to do, you can leave. You can find an open space and try it slowly, Yufan said. He was woken up at 2 in the morning. Now he was really sleepy and wanted to catch up on his sleep. Besides, I have to attend the results release ceremony of the big exam tomorrow. Ren Yishu put away the Double Dragon Shadow Sword and looked at Yufan. There was silence for a few seconds. Are you really going to side with Tianluo Palace? Yu Fan was stunned for a moment, then waved his hand. Nothing, I just said that I want to join the student union. Then do you plan to join the military after graduation? Maybe it's possible, Yu Fan said calmly. Right now I don't know anything about your various conflicts. I don't know why your military headquarters is so eager to start a war, nor why Tianluodian is so opposed to starting a war. Only when I understand why can I choose which side to take. As for now, nothing I say means anything. When the time comes, I don't agree with both of your ideas, and I might not join either side. When the time comes, I will form my own force, Yu Fan added in his heart. When Yu Fan went to college, he opened a ninja professional guild. A large number of ninjas from the Dragon Kingdom will inevitably begin to rise. Among them, Yu Fan naturally had to find a way to recruit those who were talented. The ninjutsu he announced and sold in the guild must all be relatively common ninjutsu. I want to learn ninjutsu above B level, or even various secret techniques. Don't even think about not recognizing him as the boss and being loyal. After there are more people under his command. Anbu from Hokage, 7 ninja swordsmen, Akatsuki organization, Pain 6 paths, all together. Tianluo Hall and the military headquarters all step aside, our ninja coalition is the strongest. In short, as long as what the military does is really for the Dragon Kingdom and not for selfish reasons, then I will not become your enemy. Yu Fan looked at Ren Yishu and said, silent for a long while. In this case, I won't say anything more. Ren Yishu breathed out a breath. He found that Yu Fan seemed to think differently from other young people. Generally young people like him only care about their own future and development. As for who is right and who is wrong, most of them have no time to care. Perhaps this is the difference between genius. It is said that when a person is full, he has the energy to think about lustful things. The same goes for life choices. Geniuses don't have to worry about their own future, they can naturally follow their own principles. The rich second generation does not have to worry about running out of money, so they can naturally pursue their dreams. But ordinary people, just having enough to eat, are already trying their best. What bullshit principles and bullshit dreams are there? Looking at Ren Yishu's back flying away from the balcony, Yu Fan fell heavily on the bed. Oh, it's been such a troubled time. I don't know how many annoying things there will be in the future. The next afternoon, Los Angeles Center Auditorium. Yu Fan sat lazily in the middle seat of the first row. In fact, according to his own ideas, he didn't actually need to come. He was already determined to go to Kyoto University anyway. But unfortunately, he has not yet received the admission notice from the student union for special admission. Last night I made an agreement with Gao Qicheng to give him things here. After a while, the auditorium gradually filled up with people. Only the first row still has a lot of empty seats. It was Wang Xing who specially arranged for those who did better in the Luo City exam this time. Convenient to go on stage to receive awards. In addition to students, there are quite a few middle-aged people here. Most of them are parents of students. Usually it is a parent whose children have little confidence in themselves, but they feel that their children are among the best and will definitely get good grades in the exams. Huang Sikong walked in from outside with big dark circles under his eyes and sat down next to Yu Fan. The dark-eyed duo sat lifelessly on the chairs, which was in sharp contrast to the cheerful atmosphere next to them. Why are the dark circles under your eyes heavier than mine? Don't mention it. I didn't sleep a wink all night. From my father to my 7 aunts and 8 aunts, they came over one by one to give me psychological counseling and asked me to tell them how I controlled those wild monsters to fight. Huang Sikong said solemnly. Then can I sell you, boss? Of course not. Under the pressure of dozens of them, I just didn't say anything. Oh, actually it doesn't matter if you say it. Yu Fan's vague Kaido. Actually, the burning skill uses purple demonic eyes. You can use purple demonic eyes to burn itself into the eyes of your relatives who are divine eye appraisers by profession, without me having to step in. When I have time in the future, I'll teach you how to burn it. Of course, except for purple demonic eyes, Huang Sikong couldn't get any other skills. Although purple demonic eyes can burn skills into other people's eyes, the premise is that you must have that skill yourself. Only when combined with the copying ability of Sharingan can it be complete. That won't work. If I do it for them, they will definitely think that it's me who should contribute, and they, the tough guys, won't pay a penny. Boss, you go in person and help my group of relatives do some random things. I'll charge you hundreds of millions for your hard work. There's absolutely no problem. Don't worry, they definitely have it. There is so much money left unused, why not give it to you, boss? Huang Sikong said seriously. Yu Fan was stunned, not knowing what to say. Huang Sikong took this little brother seriously and had nothing to say. Since meeting him, he has made a lot of money for himself. Mei Jiba still has 70 million left. Just when Yu Fan was thinking about when to go to Mei Jiba to ask for money, a familiar voice suddenly came from my ears. Hey, aren't these Huang Sikong and Yu Fan? You two should also sit in the first row. Yu Fan was a little speechless after hearing this. Lousy is number 1 in the Dragon Kingdom. If I don't sit in the first row, should I sit on your head? Turning around, he saw Mei Jiba limping over with the support of Yu Yanran. Seeing Yu Fan looking at him, Mei Jiba showed a proud look. The reward for the first place is much better than the rewards for the following ones. And there is a high probability that it will be recognized by the frozen fish sword master Gao Kasheng. So, what do you want to say? Yu Fan asked. Hey, what do I want to say? Mei Jiba slightly raised his bandaged chin and said proudly. I reached the 800-meter section of the 4th section of the road to heaven. Do you know what this means? It means I have at least hundreds of thousands of points. Do you understand? Candidates can only see the ranking stone tablet when entering the road to heaven. After the exam is over, it is sent directly, so you don't know exactly what your score is. It can only be estimated based on previous year's results. As soon as Mei Jiba said this, there was an uproar around him. The 4th section is 800 meters. Is it too fake? I remember last year, the first place in Los Angeles was only the 4th 300-meter section, right? That's right, the 4th section is 300 meters and has more than 120,000 points. Then Mei Jiba won't be the best in Luo City this year. I guess so, and far ahead. Not only Mei Jiba, but also Yu Yanran and Mei Jiba together. Her points are not much lower than Mei Jiba's. Mei Jiba's performance this time is so good, and Yu Yanran, the light prayer, is also indispensable. Quote, if I could also have an auxiliary combat profession to assist me, I would definitely be able to do better in the exam. Come on, if 2 people enter, the difficulty will increase. You still have to be strong, otherwise your results may be worse. Mei Jiba doesn't rely on that Aurora sword. Quote. After hearing the comments from people around him, Yu Fan finally understood. It turns out that Mei Jiba thinks he is the number 1 in Luo City. The 4th section is 800 meters. Although Yu Fan hasn't asked Huang Sikong yet, he is more confident in what he has prepared for Huang Sikong than Mei Jiba. Even Huang Sikong can't compare, let alone compete with him. He almost cleared the entire road to heaven yesterday. The only point difference is probably the ranking point. He wasted too long outside without being the first to go in. But it's okay, leaving a little chance for future people to break the record. Yu Fan didn't know how to tell Mei Jiba the cruel fact that he was not even better than Huang Sikong, so he said humbly. Then, congratulations to you. Haha, what's there to congratulate? You all achieved it with your own strength. If you really want to say it, I have to thank you and Huang Sikong. Without that, Aurora sword, I wouldn't be able to achieve such good results. Score. Quote. This 80 million is really well spent. Mei Jiba said angrily. Yu Fan was speechless and rolled his eyes silently. Well, as long as you remember, don't forget to give me the remaining 72 million when the ranking is over. Mei Jiba was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that Yu Fan would dare to chase him for money in this situation. Just as he was about to speak, Wang Xingda's voice came from the loudspeakers on both sides and interrupted him. Just yesterday, the annual exam ended. This year our Los Angeles city achieved extremely excellent results. On behalf of all departments in our city, the extremely stylized opening hypnosis has an outstanding effect. Yu Fan immediately became drowsy. Turning his head to look, he found that Huang Sikong had already begun to sleep soundly. Mangekyō looked at the two people who didn't take the ranking ceremony seriously at all, and curled his lips in disdain. You think pretending not to care will be useful? A full dozen minutes passed. Wang Xingde on the stage finally finished his opening remarks. Then a secretary-looking woman wearing a black stocking uniform walked up to the microphone. Next, announce the rewards for the big exam. Hearing this, the originally lifeless atmosphere was swept away, and all the students became interested. First of all, there are rewards from Luo City. Each person ranked 100th to 51st in Luo City will be rewarded with 500,000 Dragon Country coins. The 50th to 21st place will each be awarded 1 million Dragon Country coins. Everyone ranked 20th to 11th will be rewarded with 1 million Dragon Country coins and can go to the Los Angeles Equipment Library to choose a purple rare equipment. Everyone ranked 10th to 4th will be rewarded with 1.5 million Dragon Country coins and can go to the Los Angeles Equipment Library to choose 2 pieces of purple rare equipment. Third place will be awarded 2 million Dragon Nation coins and you can choose 3 pieces of purple equipment. Second place will be awarded 2.5 million Dragon Nation coins and choose 4 pieces of purple equipment. The first place will be awarded 3 million Dragon Nation coins and choose an Orange Legend level equipment. Quote. Quote. The students in the audience screamed in surprise. Wow, how come our rewards in Los Angeles this year are so much better than last year? We in Luo City have always been stingy, but this time we are willing to bleed like this. What's going on? This reward is probably better than the one in Haicheng next door. Especially the first place one is actually given an Orange Legend level equipment, which has never happened before. Quote. Still don't understand. Who is the number 1 this year? Mangekyō. Yes, Mangekyō is not only the number 1 in Luo City, but he is also very likely to become a disciple of the Sword God. This is obviously just to please him. Oh, I see. It has to be you. After listening to your analysis, I understand everything. Quote. Brother Dong spoke loudly, and Mangekyō, who was sitting in the front row, could hear him clearly. In fact, at the beginning, he was still a little unsure whether he could be selected by Gao Kashang. But after understanding brother's analysis, he immediately felt that it was a done deal. A big stone fell from my heart. Although he wanted to keep a calm attitude, the curve of the corners of Mangekyō's mouth was even more difficult to suppress than a brand new AK-47. Quiet, the woman shouted into the microphone. Next, the Dragon Kingdom's national awards will be announced. The top 5,000 to 4,000 people nationwide will be rewarded with 3 million Dragon Country coins and choose 2 pieces of level 30, Orange Legend, equipment from the National Equipment Library. Quote. The top 4,000 to 3,000 nationwide will be rewarded with 4 million Dragon National coins, and they can choose from the National Equipment Library. Quote. First place in the country will be rewarded with 100 million Dragon Kingdom coins, and you can choose a level 30, Golden Epic, equipment from the National Equipment Library. Quote. The national rewards are indeed much more luxurious than those in Los Angeles. But the students below had no reaction. After all, there are only a handful of people in Los Angeles who can make it into the top 5,000 in the country. It has nothing to do with 99.9% of people. What's going on this year? Why are you reporting so many national awards? I don't know. I think Mangekyō has about 3,000 people. Well, judging from previous years, it's about the same. And I even went out of my way to report the rewards for being number 1 in the Dragon Kingdom. I don't know what I'm doing. It's just a waste of our time. The epic equipment is indeed awesome, but what does it have to do with our ungrateful place like Luo City? The brother who analyzed before said loudly, his tone full of disgust for Luo Chang. Tisk, look at what you said. Prince and General Shang Ning is so smart. Why can't we in Luo City be number 1 in the Dragon Kingdom? Someone said unhappily. What, you're still not convinced? If Los Angeles can be ranked number 1 in the country, I'll eat a ton of food on live broadcast. Let's put it this way, are you convinced? What's your name? I don't want to change my name, I don't want to change my surname. The Analysis Emperor of North Number 2 Middle School is Li Laoba. The awards for the big exam have been announced. I announce that the results of the Los Angeles University examination have begun. Hearing this, the entire venue suddenly became quiet. Everyone held their breath and looked behind the podium. There were 9 huge display boards covered with red cloth. What is written on it are the scores and rankings of all students who exceeded the admission score for the Los Angeles University entrance examination. This result will greatly affect the fate and future of all students present. Wow! The first piece of red cloth was torn off. The list is always released from the lowest ranking upwards. The first group released, called the base board, consists of people who have just passed the admission line. Therefore, when the students looked at the bottom board, they had mixed emotions. If your name is on it, it means your grades are not good and you just passed the line. If your name is not on it, you may have better grades, but you may also have failed. Ah, my name is on it. How come my points are so few? There are more than 3 million people in the country. My mother will kill me. Just be content, I don't even know if you will fail. Luckily my name isn't on it. It's over, it looks like I failed the exam, don't do it. Quote. For a time, mourning flooded the land. Some people are grateful that they are not on top, some feel that they have failed in the exam, and some feel that the sky has fallen. In fact, everyone has a rough idea of what level they are at. If I am not on this board, I know better than anyone whether I will take a step forward or fall directly into the rankings. Next, the red cloth was uncovered piece by piece. Now everyone who finds their name on the board will be happier. And the more you go on, the happier you will be. When the 5th piece was lifted, a familiar voice sounded. Look, my name is ranked first in this section. I am number 762 in Los Angeles. Although I'm a little behind in my profession, I can make up for the gap in my profession with my genius mind. I'll see who dares to question my analysis in the future. His words obviously meant something, and he was trying to get rid of the student who challenged him just now. Because the name of the student just now has appeared on the front board, which is much worse than Lee Lauba. As the ranking gets higher and higher, the atmosphere in the hall is getting more and more lively. Someone in Versailles said, "Oh, I am only ranked 300th in Luo City. I made a mistake. Some people are ecstatic. I'm 250, I'm 205. I'm 250, I'm 205. Some people cried with joy, wow, I actually managed to get the 198th place in Luo City. There is smoke coming out of the ancestral graves. Parents, there is smoke coming out of our ancestral graves." This situation gradually eased when the ranking entered the top 100. The candidates on the list are relatively calm. In any industry, once you reach the top level, luck will never play a role. Everyone can only speak based on their strength. If anyone told you that he was just lucky to get this ranking, that can only mean that this person wants to pretend to be a pig and eat the tiger. Anyone who believes it will suffer disaster. By the end of the 8th sign, most of the candidates who passed the test in Los Angeles are already on the list. As for the last 9th sign, there is no red cloth on it, but only 10 places covered by wide red tape. Those were the top 10 in this Los Angeles exam. For this world dominated by occupation and skills, the college entrance examination is definitely not just a matter for the education sector. This is a major event related to the development of the entire Los Angeles city. Therefore, these processes must be grand. Only in this way can the people of Los Angeles remain in awe of the college entrance examination and invest more resources in cultivating the next generation. The results release ceremony has come to an end. Let us reveal the top 10 of this Los Angeles examination. The career of the woman responsible for unveiling the list seems to be very special. She didn't need to touch the red tape with her hands, she just raised her hand and waved it lightly. Hiss. The tape fell off. 10th place, Makoto Hayashi. Points, 119,862 points, national ranking, 5,532. Makoto Hayashi, please come on stage and stand next to me. Not far from Yufan, a tall girl with brown hair, beautiful features, but a bit flat chest stood up. Yufan knows that this girl, Lin Makoto, is the person who has always occupied the first place in Baikang No. 2 middle school. In the past, Yufan was often compared with her. The profession she changed into is also very good, the electromagnetic cannon user, one of the best hidden professions in the lightning category. It is said that you can use your fingertips to launch super powerful electric bombardments with a diameter of 1 or 2 meters wide. It is a fire coverage profession. After Lin Makoto stood still on the stage, the woman activated her skill again and ripped off a piece of red tape. The next ones are basically Yufan's acquaintances. 9th place, Bai Xiaoxiao, 128,970 points, national ranking, 5,022. This girl with fair skin and reflective skin performed quite well in this exam with the help of the Aurora sword, sold to her by Yufan and Huang Sikong. 8th place, Wang Yanyan, 139,910 points, national ranking, 4,643. She stood on the stage, but her expression didn't show how happy she was. During the exam yesterday, the image of Yufan's arrogant fire going out and burning the Momarsh River dry is still vivid in my mind. She now has deep doubts about her profession as Dragon Flame Mage. 7th place, Mei Yushang, 142,008 points, national ranking, 4,241. Mei Jiba's younger sister is a creator by profession, and her equipment is quite gorgeous. Unfortunately, he also has a certain figure. Even Sister Pao can overwhelm her. 6th place, Yu Kun, 146,986 points, national ranking, 3,988. The son of the leader of Kunquan style, although Yufan has made him lose any confidence, his strength is still there. Moreover, because he cleared the endless cave of goblins, abyss under the leadership of Yufan. His level has reached level 27, which is 2 levels higher than Mei Jiba. It's not surprising to be ranked 6th. 5th place, Qin Mang, 151,034 points, national ranking, 3,632. Needless to say, she is the city lord's daughter, Yu Kun's goddess, Huang Sikong's little crush, and the elemental mage profession. With the attribute strengthening increase of elemental heart, it is not surprising that she can achieve this result. 4th place, Yu Yanran, 159,976 points, national ranking, 3,012. Huang Sikong's childhood sweetheart, the auxiliary profession, light prayer, entered the dungeon together with Mei Jiba, and naturally its ranking cannot be lower. The most exciting moment is coming. This year's 2nd overall pick, 3rd overall pick, and 1st overall pick in Los Angeles will be announced soon. Let me tell you secretly, our ranking in Los Angeles this year is so high that you can't even imagine it. The woman's voice was trembling with excitement. Mei Jiba sat below, also shaking with excitement. Yu Yanran has actually been ranked 3,000. Then wouldn't he be able to rank in the early 2000s? 2000 nationwide. No one in Los Angeles has achieved such a ranking in the past 10 years. Everyone in Luo City must remember my name, Mei Jiba. Mei Jiba believed that he was the first in the Los Angeles exam and was overly excited. Little did he realize that the 4th place was already 3,000. There are 3 more people in front of me. A result of more than 2,000 places is simply not enough. Wow, the woman peels off the tape from the 3rd place's name. 3rd place, Mei Jiba. Student Mei Jiba, please come on stage. Hey, what's the situation? I'm 3rd. Am I only in 3rd place? How can this be? Who is 1st and 2nd? Mei Jiba's mind suddenly shut down, and he slowly stood up at a loss. Classmate Mei Jiba, please stand on the stage quickly. The woman wanted to announce it quickly, but when she saw Mei Jiba's appearance, she couldn't help but urge. Mei Jiba walked to the podium blankly. He has seen Yufan's magic many times. Before the results were released, what he was most worried about was that Yufan would score higher than him. But he never imagined that besides Yufan, there would be someone else weighing on him. Who is this? All the people named in Luo City are already on the list. Who else can beat him, Mei Jiba? Just when I was puzzled, Mei Jiba looked up and suddenly saw the shocked expression on Yu Yanran's face, who was standing in 4th place. Yes, just look at who else is sitting in the 1st row of seats and you'll know who it is. Mei Jiba followed Yu Yanran's gaze and looked over. I saw 2 sleepy figures, Yufan and Huang Sikong. That's right, these 2 people are the only ones still sitting in the 1st row of seats. This is impossible, Mei Jiba muttered subconsciously. Huang Sikong, this loser, is just a life occupation, but his college entrance examination scores are actually higher than his own, Sword Soul. It's simply a fantasy. Mangekyō's classmates have a total score of 176,572 points and are ranked 2,552 nationwide. Let us applaud and congratulate. The host said, neither salty nor blandly. The hall was quiet for a few seconds, then burst into loud applause. Mangekyō is actually only third. He is ranked 2,552nd in the country, but he is only ranked third in Los Angeles. How high are the first and second national rankings? No wonder she said that the first place in Los Angeles this year was very high. Ha ha ha, where is the eloquent one who analyzed just now? Come out and tell me what's going on. Li Laoba, speak. Li Laoba's face was extremely ugly. He had vowed before that Mangekyō would definitely be number one. He also said that the reward for being the first in Luo City was so luxurious just to curry favor with Mangekyō. Now being severely slapped in the face, Mangekyō is not only not number one, he is not even number two. Say what you say, so what if it's wrong? I think you don't understand what analysis is at all. Mr. Li said with an inward look. Then what is analysis? It's funny, why should I tell you? I can only say that everyone who understands it. If you don't understand, it's useless if I tell you. You won't understand even if I tell you. It's better not to tell you and just take a closer look at it yourself. Li Laoba's mouth is harder than diamonds. Hiss. The second tape was pulled off. Because Mangekyō didn't believe it, Huang Sikong's name was clearly written on it. Above the words, third place, that belongs to him, the words, second place, are particularly dazzling. Let us congratulate Huang Sikong. As the second place in Los Angeles, his total score is 198,664 points, ranking 1,580th in the country. Classmate Huang Sikong, please stand on the podium. Huang Sikong shook his head, stood up, and walked steadily onto the podium. From the beginning to the end, his eyes fell on the face of his childhood sweetheart, Yu Yanran. He wanted to see what this woman's expression would be like in such a situation. But unfortunately, there was neither regret nor sadness on her face. Apart from surprise, there is only stubbornness and calmness. Hee. Huang Sikong smiled self-deprecatingly. He knew that he couldn't and didn't want to deceive himself anymore. In fact, the moment Yu Yanran chose Mangekyō, everything was over. The one who is still trying to redeem himself is simply a clown. At the beginning, he even planned to use blood sacrifice weapons to take the big exam, trying to go to the same university as Yu Yanran. Fortunately, I met Yu Fan later, otherwise Huang Sikong might have become a joke to all the young people in Los Angeles. Huang Sikong withdrew his gaze and strode towards the second place next to Mangekyō. He didn't even glance at Mangekyō, who had a face full of disbelief and eyes full of doubt. He has already decided, from now on, he will follow Yu Fan and work hard to find stronger wild monsters and stronger passive skills. Keep getting stronger. The only one you can rely on is your own strength. What bullshit love. Anyone who wants to be Zhang Wansen is a fool. Huang Sikong wants to be Tong Jincheng. Giving sincerely is like licking a dog. A ruthless and ruthless man. At this moment, Huang Sikong's aura suddenly changed drastically. All inferiority and cowardice are gone. What about life and career? Is Sword Soul superior to others? Since God arranged for Yu Fan to appear in front of him, then he must seize the opportunity, move forward bravely, and never retreat even half a step. Brothers, don't hold it in your mouth. Huang Sikong waved to the audience. No one has done this before. As the young master of the Bayota Chamber of Commerce, Huang Sikong had many younger brothers in the school. There are also friends from various rich and powerful families. His shout directly set off the entire venue. Brother Chong, you're awesome. It's so cool to be able to outdo Mangekyō by a head. Simply invincible. Brother Chong, I knew you could do it. Ha ha ha, let Yu Yan regret it later. In this warm atmosphere, the people with the ugliest faces were the people from the Mei family and the Yu family. The Mei family lost the number one position they were determined to win. The Yu family deeply regretted making the wrong bet. Not only did they press the wrong treasure, but they also offended the Bayota Chamber of Commerce. It can be said that misfortunes never come singly. The head of the Yu family looked complicated. In fact, his preaching and oppression were indispensable for her daughter to take this step in the first place. Otherwise, his daughter and Huang Xikong's childhood sweethearts may not firmly choose Huang Xikong. Why are you so grim? Mei Jiba's father said angrily. So what if I'm not number one? Huang Xikong is just a career in life. As long as Jiba can become the disciple of Lord Sword God, are you afraid that he won't be able to defeat Huang Xikong? Don't forget, what is the biggest goal of this exam? Hearing this, the head of the Yu family's expression calmed down a little. Yes, rankings are not the most important thing. The most important thing is who can become the disciple of Lord Sword God. As long as you become the disciple of Lord Sword God, then these so-called rankings are not worth mentioning. Then there is no problem with your choice. Wow. In the increasingly high atmosphere, the long-legged host in black stockings tore off the last piece of tape to reveal what was on it. The hall, which was originally like a noisy hall, quickly became quiet. It's so quiet that you can't even hear breathing, you can hear a needle drop. Everyone is staring at the points behind their names. There is also the national ranking written at the end. Fake, right. 360,000 points. Li Laoba's trembling voice broke the silence. Number 1 in the country. We in Los Angeles actually have the number 1 in the country. No, it's not as simple as you think. If it's true, it's not as simple as being number 1 in the country. This has broken the overall record in our Dragon Kingdom exam. Oh my god, aren't we witnessing history? Well, you Li Laoba. Tell me, have you analyzed it a long time ago and deliberately came to cheat me out of food and drink? I'll eat you, uncle. Li Laoba's face turned red and he became angry with embarrassment. Originally it was just an angry remark, but I didn't expect that the idea would be so recited. He had to catch up with something that would never happen once in 100 years. He said on the front foot that if Los Angeles could be ranked first, he would live broadcast that. As a result, Luo City really became the number 1 in the Dragon Kingdom. Is this God's will? Oh, you can't go back on your word, so many people here have heard it. You can eat a ton of food during the live broadcast. That's what you said. I'm waiting for your live broadcast. When the broadcast starts, be sure to inform the brothers first. When the time comes, I will give you rockets to cheer you on. What happened? Yu Fan muttered as he walked towards the podium. His score was actually only 360,000 points. This is very unreasonable. He wiped out every monster on the road to the sky, and also broke the magenta light group that no one had ever broken before. Logically speaking, his points should be much higher than this previous record. Rather than just this pitiful 10,000 points more. Yu Fan felt right, his points were actually far more than the record of 500,000 points. However, after an overnight discussion by senior officials of the Longguo Education Commission, this score was too shocking and should not be announced. So Yu Fan's score was changed to 360,000 points, only slightly more than the Dragon Kingdom record. In this way, Yu Fan deserves as much honor and reward as he deserves. At the same time, it can also reduce a lot of doubts. It was precisely because of the need to discuss this issue that the Education Committee meeting was held very late last night and did not end until the early morning. Of course, this is only a superficial reason. If anyone believes that these veterans of the Education Committee will really work overtime just to discuss such an issue, then he is too naive. The more they reach this position, the more unprofitable they are. There is no benefit, and asking them to stay up late and work overtime is tantamount to wishful thinking. When they deliberately delayed the meeting, the news that there is a super genius in Los Angeles has been passed silently to the admissions departments of universities under their respective powers like little snakes. The recruiting teams coming to Los Angeles this year from these universities that have received the news will definitely be much more luxurious than in previous years. The purpose of delaying the meeting is also very simple. Let the newcomers in the Education Committee who have no way of spreading the news to the outside world be honest and stop trying to compete with old people like them. These veterans of the Education Committee cooperate with each other tacitly. A few words on the wheel were said back and forth. The end time of the meeting was delayed until early morning. Just like those Party A who asked Party B to change countless versions of the plan and finally said, "Forget it, just stick to the first version." Mangekyō looked at Yufan, who walked up to the podium as if nothing had happened, and every cell in his body expressed disbelief. First in Luo City, first in Dragon Kingdom, breaking the Dragon Kingdom's grand exam total score record. How did this overshadow his Mangekyō's limelight? This turns him into a clown. 360,000 points, this is impossible. 360,000 yuan, even if you reach the end of the 5th stage, you may not have so many points. Did he cheat? Yes, that's right, he must have cheated. Mangekyō clenched his fists tightly, already somewhat losing his mind. He knew that the only chance he had left to make a comeback was to become a disciple of the Sword God. Although his limelight was completely overshadowed by Yufan. But at least he has a natural advantage, he is a sword soul, and Yufan is not. Of course Yufan would not ignore Mangekyō's questioning eyes. Go to the front and stand in the first position. Our results in Los Angeles this year. Another piece of nonsense. Then enter the reward distribution stage. The rewards from the Dragon Kingdom cannot be claimed until you go to college. What is being given out now are just rewards from Luo City. This year's reward for being number 1 in Los Angeles is 3 million Dragon Kingdom coins and a piece of level 30, Orange Legend, equipment. If this reward was placed more than a month ago, Yufan will definitely be happy. But now, the money and this piece of equipment are no longer enough. If Yufan just buys any skill, it will cost him tens of millions to start, and if he just buys a powerful character template, it will cost him hundreds of millions. 3 million Dragon Country coins can only be considered better than nothing. After the awards ceremony ended, it was finally time to enter the highlight of the day. The awarding is complete, now please invite the early admissions groups of each university to enter. Hearing Wang Xingda's words, all the students in the room became energetic. Enroll early. This is your best chance of getting into a good university. If you can be favored by the admissions team, you may be admitted under special conditions even if your scores do not meet the requirements. This is not possible in formal admissions. In the formal admissions process, if your score does not pass the threshold, they will not even let you in through the school gate, let alone an interview. And more importantly, being selected by the early admissions group now will save you the next month and a half of hard work. 1.5 months after the results of the college entrance examination are released, it is the time for candidates to go to school for interviews. Unlike Yufan's previous life, he directly filled out his application form and waited at home. In this world, test scores are just a stepping stone to qualify you for interviews at schools. If you want to actually enter the university, you must pass the university's interview. Therefore, even if many people achieve the required scores, they may still be rejected by the school due to occupation, skill proficiency, level, and other reasons. Once you are rejected, you must go to the next school for an interview without stopping. Keep interviewing until a school is willing to accept you. Some people who have obvious deficiencies in their careers and skills can even interview at dozens of universities in this month and a half. Therefore, being able to be admitted early to a good university on the day the results are released is definitely a great thing worth celebrating. Of course, it's not easy. The doors on both sides opened, and a large group of people in suits and ties walked out. They are the early enrollment group that came to Los Angeles this year. In this world, strength has always been respected. The teachers and professors in these universities are also strong men with high levels of rank. Those leading the way are the top universities. The worse the university is, the more consciously you will stand back. As the analyst of Bay No. 2 Middle School, Li Laoba could tell at a glance that this year's early enrollment group was very different from previous years. The number of top schools far exceeds previous years. After all, Los Angeles is just a third-rate small town, and the number 1 ranking in the country every year is only 3,000 to 4,000 places. Many schools that are far away don't even bother to send early admissions teams. But this year, basically no one was left behind, they were all present. Secondly, there is the staffing of these early enrollment groups. Generally speaking, early admissions groups are led by 1 professor and followed by 5 or 6 teachers. But this year, the admissions lineups of some universities are simply exaggerated. At a glance, there are as many as 3 or 4 professor-looking people. Finally, there seems to be a bad atmosphere among the early admissions groups at these colleges. Generally speaking, everyone is a strong person with a good reputation. They are just recruiting students. There is no need to make each other unhappy. But this year is different. There is a lot of tension between the admissions groups. Li Laoba even heard some professors scolding their mothers. What? How come you from Southwest University have the nerve to squeeze in front of our Zhongnyan University? You don't have a lot of confidence in your position. You're laughing so hard. Why can't our Southwest University stand in front of your Zhongnyan University? You thought it was 20 years ago. Hey, stop arguing, give way, and let our Southeast Military Academy pass. Shut up, you guys, you don't want to pee and take photos. Quote. As for the reason for this situation, Li Laoba knew it without even thinking about it. He turned to look at Yufan, who was coming down from the podium. These people are obviously here for Yufan. But these good schools targeting Yufan may not accept a few other students. They can be considered to have benefited from Yufan. Li Laoba grinned and walked towards the early enrollment team. A large group of people rushed towards Yufan. Before they set off, their respective principals told them the biggest reward the school could give Yufan. At the same time, they also promised them various benefits after recruiting Yufan. Some are promoted, some are given equipment of their choice, some are given secret medicine, and some are helped to strengthen or amplify equipment. In short, Yufan is like tang monk meat, whoever can bite it will take off. Just as they were rushing up, they were blocked by someone. Gao Qicheng, what are you doing here? A white-haired old man with gold-rimmed glasses from Shanghai University said in a bad tone. He is the dean of the Swordsmanship Academy of Mordu University, Lin Yi, known as Master Yi. The occupation is sword soul, just like the sword god. However, he and Yi Lan majored in different skills such as drawing sword and phantom sword dance. What I am playing is a more sophisticated, flowing heart type of skill. Flowing heart skills are less lethal, but the advantage is that they cost almost nothing and can be used continuously. Fighting is as smooth as dancing. Moreover, flowing heart skills can better catch the loopholes in other people's moves, and their main focus is to use skills to break through power. Looking at the understanding of flowing heart skills alone, Lin Yi may still be above the sword god. Haha, enrollment, aren't you here to enroll students? Gao Qicheng answered with his usual smile. You're a fish seller, and you're not a teacher or professor at a university. Why do you participate in admissions? Gao Qicheng started his career by selling fish in his early years, which was no secret to powerful men like Long Guo. Although he knew that Gao Qicheng was a member of the sword god lineage, and the sword god lived in Kyoto University all year round, the relationship between them was self-evident. But Yi Lan usually doesn't interfere in matters between universities. Who says a fish seller can't be a professor? Gao Qicheng looked at the professor sent by Kyoto University to recruit students next to him without changing his expression. Am I not the one? The professor stood on the same front as Gao Qicheng and nodded repeatedly. Yes, yes, of course, Boss Gao has always been an honorary professor of our Kyoto University. Promise. Gao Qicheng shrugged towards Lin Yi. See, I'm here to recruit students too, so let's compete fairly. Ha, fair competition. The people around Lin Yi looked at Chen Jinmo, who was next to Gao Qicheng, with an expression of, I'll treat anyone who comes forward to eat fish. There was also a thick stack of bank cards in Gao Qicheng's hand. No matter in terms of money or force, there is no sign of fair competition. Gao Qicheng, don't bully others too much. Which school Yufan will go to should be his own choice. Which school has better conditions and is more conducive to the growth of little Yufan, go to whichever school you want. Quote. Everyone said in a hurry. Gao Qicheng quickly waved his hand. Hey, I said fair competition. I, Gao Qicheng, am not a bad person. How can I force others to do something? Who doesn't know that our Changshan group abides by the law and never does anything illegal? He raised his hand and made a small distance between his index finger and thumb. Just do it a little bit at most. Of course, little Yufan, you can go wherever you want. He turned slightly to make way for the passage. Lin Yi snorted and walked directly towards Yufan. Little friend Yufan, I am Lin Yi from Mudu University. Do you intend to join our Modu University? If you join our Modu University, we will design a growth plan specifically for you. All dungeons and secret realms mastered by Modu University will be open to you independently. Of course, all fees are free. You can choose any of the top experts in the academy as your teachers and let them teach you one-on-one. As for the scholarship, it has been prepared for you. As long as you join, 250 million Dragon Kingdom coins will be credited to your account immediately. Please note that this scholarship is not only given once, but will be given once every semester in the future. Finally, we guarantee that while you are studying, all the special secret realms in Dragon Kingdom that are open to the school, regardless of grade, will be open to you first as long as you want to participate. Besides that, you can make any other requests and we can agree to them. Lin Yi didn't waste any time and directly explained the conditions that Shanghai University of Science and Technology could provide one by one. Hearing Lin Yi's words, the other university admissions teams looked a little ugly. The conditions given by Lin Yi were basically an upgraded version of the conditions they could give. In comparison with Shanghai University, they appear uncompetitive. Modu University is really serious this time. It can almost be said that I will give everything I can. No, I have decided to join Kyoto University, Yu Fan said without hesitation. The reason is simple, he must get closer to Chengsheng Group. Besides upgrading, the most important thing is to make money. And the richest person in the entire Dragon Kingdom is undoubtedly the Chengsheng Group. Of course, mainly what Modu University can give him, Kyoto University can also give him. Once you become the president of the student union, most of the resources of Kyoto University can be freely deployed by myself. It is much better than the so-called, specially designed growth plan, of Shanghai University of Finance and Economics. Lin Yi was a little surprised that Yu Fan would refuse so decisively. After thinking for a moment, he suddenly realized. Have you contacted me in advance? Lin Yi was a little unbelievable. He got the news from the education committee immediately. How did Gao Qicheng get the news before them? This dead fish seller, has the information network exaggerated to this extent? My dear Yu Fan, what conditions does Kyoto University offer you? Lin Yi still refused to give up. Don't think about it. Gao Qicheng didn't know when he rushed back here from Kyoto and stood behind Gao Qicheng. He said arrogantly, we asked Yu Fan to be the vice president of the student union in his sophomore year and the president of the student union in his junior year. How do you compare? This is their unique advantage. Although Modu University also has a student union and a military armament union, these two organizations are not entirely part of the school. They even belong to Tianluo Palace and the military department. The position of president of the student union is not something that the school can have the final say on. And the choice of teacher you mentioned is not attractive to Yu Fan. Our teacher will accept Yu Fan as a disciple. Is there anyone in your school who is more powerful than my teacher? Of course everyone knew who the teacher Gao Qicheng was talking about was naturally the strongest man in the Dragon Kingdom, the sword god Yi Lan. Although the professions are different, there is nothing that can be done about it. After all, there is no strong person in the ninja profession in the Dragon Kingdom. Under such circumstances, it is indeed reasonable for Yu Fan to study under the strongest person. Lin Yi was so shocked that he was speechless. The atmosphere at the scene became increasingly tense. No one noticed. Not far away, a boy with a bandage on his body lost his light in his eyes. Why? How could this happen? He is obviously not a sword soul, so the sword god wants to accept him as his disciple. Quote, this is impossible, this is impossible. My life has been disrupted. My life should not be like this. Mei Jiba fell to the ground, looking like a madman. The moment he heard Gao Qicheng say, my teacher wants to accept Yu Fan as his disciple, the only pillar in his heart collapsed. He couldn't understand that a mere ninja. How could a despicable profession push him into such a situation? Mei Jiba. Yu Yanran didn't know what to say. Although Mei Jiba is not a good person, he has not done any big bad things. Even for himself, Mei Jiba didn't force her to do anything, he was just too conceited. Go away. Get out. Nothing good has happened to me since you were with me. You, stay away from me. Once a person has an emotional breakdown, he can say anything. The time for early enrollment is very tight, and not many people pay attention to the farce over there. Just when Lin Yi wanted to fight for Modu University, a powerful voice came from not far away. Everyone, if you only have this little sincerity, you'd better leave. Don't let a young man with such a high level of understanding be ruined by you. Hear this sound. The smile on Gao Qicheng's face froze instantly, and then his expression turned cold. How did this old dog who had given up his identity as a member of the Dragon Kingdom get the news? Is there anyone in the Dragon Kingdom Education Committee who is unclean? The person who came was a plump old man with a big smile on his face. The flesh on his face was all squeezed together, making him look very greasy. He looked at Gao Qicheng provocatively and walked over in 3 unsteady steps, turning a blind eye to everyone else, including Lin Yi. The attitude is extremely arrogant. Behind him was a young man who looked about the same age as Yu Fan. He is dressed in black skin but has an Asian face. Apparently a mixed race. His appearance immediately attracted considerable attention. It's the genius who appeared in Guangzhou before. Is he the one who changed jobs and found a hidden job called Ghost in the Mirror, that has never appeared before, and then relied on his own understanding to develop 3 combat skills before the big exam? Quote. Yes, that's him. Is he a mixed race? Oh, Guangzhou, you know. I remember it was called Li Kui. It is said that because his BLCKM*N father didn't speak Chinese well, he thought his son could hold on to this name, so he chose it. Oh, I remember, I seemed to be there last year. Originally, this Li Kui was going to enter the Demon City University, but then he was intercepted by Ning Yang and was forcibly admitted into the Blue Star Genius class. Maid, what is he doing here again? Want to rob Yu Fan? How could Yu Fan give it to him? Yu Fan's strategic significance is not comparable to that of Li Kui. Although Li Kui has a high level of understanding, he is the only one in his profession, and the skills he develops can only be used by himself. It is completely different from the effect of Yu Fan developing skills and then leading to the rise of all ninjas in the entire Dragon Kingdom. In the past few years, this bullshit Blue Star Genius class has robbed many of our Dragon Kingdom's good talents. It's really abominable. For a time, the conflicts between the admissions team disappeared, and all the hostility turned to Ning Yang, the fat old man. Blue Star Gifted Class is an organization that was just established 5 years ago. Proposed and strongly supported by the United States. The name is to gather all the geniuses with superb understanding in the world to develop more skills and benefit all mankind. But in fact, most of the technologies developed are monopolized by the United States, and at most they are shared with other major European countries. Then every year they only release a few useless skills to block the mouths of other countries. As long as other countries ask about it, it means that the skill has not been tested clearly and is too dangerous to be disclosed. High-sounding and disgusting. What is even more unacceptable is that the director of the so-called Blue Star Genius class is actually a native of the Dragon Kingdom. Ning Yang, the former number 1-inch Devil May Cry in the Dragon Kingdom and the 62nd level Grand Master who is highly respected by the people of the Dragon Kingdom. I don't know what benefits the United States promised him. In order to show his loyalty, he publicly expressed his resignation from the Dragon Kingdom nationality at the United Nations meeting. Become a free man and serve the entire Blue Star. He sounds nice, but in fact he is just slapping Long Guo in the face. But due to the coercion of the other 4 major countries, the Dragon Kingdom could not take action against him. The Dragon Kingdom has developed too fast in recent years, and the other 4 major countries, led by the United States, have become increasingly unconcealed in their intentions. I'm talking about Ning Yang. The purpose of the Blue Star Genius class is to find geniuses with high understanding around the world. What's going on with you staying in the Dragon Kingdom? Gao Qicheng's tone was cold. What can I do? There are many talented people in the Dragon Kingdom. What can I do? Ning Yang smiled playfully. Aren't you afraid that if you stay in the Dragon Kingdom, you will die from eating fish someday? Ha ha ha, Gao Qicheng, your tricks don't scare me. I like eating meat, not fish. There was no fear on Ning Yang's face. He knew that Gao Qicheng and Chen Jinmo did not dare to do anything to him. Once he died in the Dragon Kingdom, it would be an opportunity for the other 4 major countries to attack the Dragon Kingdom. Gao Qicheng cannot bear this responsibility. Okay, Gao Qicheng, stop talking nonsense. Where this little classmate chooses to join is up to him. It depends on which one of us offers better conditions. Understand? Ning Yang waved his hand impatiently. It's ridiculous. Their genius class is a global organization, so what they can provide is not comparable to what universities like Longguo can offer. As long as Yufan is not a fool, he will naturally know how to choose. Just like Li Kui. Yufan, you should know about our Blue Star Genius class, right? No need to say much about the copies, secret realms, and money they talked about. What we can give you is at least double that of Kyoto University. As for the equipment, I guarantee that from now on you will be equipped with at least Orange Legend level equipment. Quote, if I can find Red Brilliance level equipment, I will definitely help you find it. Quote, our genius class will also equip you with a space ring of hundreds of cubic meters. The value of this ring alone is inestimable. As for the teacher, I will personally guide you. I admit that in terms of strength, 5 or 6 of me combined may not be Yi Lan's opponent, but you have to believe me, Yi Lan, an old pervert, won't have much time to teach you. But I'm different, I have plenty of time. Finally, and most importantly, I can guarantee that you can enter at least 5 Tiandao dungeons every year. Quote, as soon as he said this, even Gao Qicheng couldn't help but open his eyes wide, his pupils shrank suddenly, and he stared at Ning Yang's fat face. Obviously, the conditions Ning Yang finally offered were extremely terrifying. As we all know, understanding skills is a very difficult thing, and those who do not have amazing understanding will not be able to do it. But there is a copy in this world. The special atmosphere and level clearance rewards that emerge can greatly improve people's understanding in a short period of time and quickly comprehend new skills. It is self-evident how huge this means to individuals, careers, and the country as a whole. Whenever such a copy appears, no matter which country it appears in, it will inevitably set off a wave of fanatical battles about which profession should be included in the dungeon. Everyone hopes that their own professional will enter the dungeon so that they can acquire new skills. If you're lucky, that person can learn 1 or 2 powerful skills. Then the value of all people in this profession will skyrocket immediately. This kind of dungeon, which is like a heaven-defying life-changing dungeon, is called a Tiandao dungeon. Of course, the more savvy a person is, the more they will gain from the Tiandao dungeon. There was once a genius from the Bear Country who cleared the Tiandao dungeon and understood 6 skills at once, shocking the entire Blue Star. Ning Yang, are you out of your mind? The Tiandao dungeon is refreshed randomly. It depends on God's will. Why do you promise to enter the Tiandao dungeon 5 times a year? Quote, Lin Yi questioned loudly. The copy of Heaven's Way was too valuable, and it was not something he, Ning Yang, could just take out. He promised to do it once a year, and he still thought it was possible. 5 times a year, why should Ning Yang? Even the entire Dragon Kingdom may not be able to get 5 opportunities to enter the Tiandao dungeon in a year. Unless the copy appears at home. If it appears in other countries and they don't have enough for themselves, will they give it back to you? Puff. Ning Yang sneered and looked at Lin Yi with contempt. Lao Yi, you are still the same, you are still so short-sighted. Madness. The advantages of Blue Star Genius class are beyond your imagination. Do you think the resources I can obtain are still as pitiful as when I was in the Dragon Kingdom? I'm not afraid to tell you that I am now level 65. After saying that, he turned to look at Yufan. Little friend Yufan, you see, these people are so short-sighted. If I just say something, they will be shocked and speechless. In today's world, only by giving up the so-called sense of belonging and pursuing resources with all our strength can we continue to become stronger. The conditions I just mentioned are just to express my sincerity. There are some secrets that I can't tell in front of these people. The benefits of joining us are far beyond what you can get if you choose to join these local universities in Dragon Kingdom. Don't look at it, you are now number 1 in the Dragon Kingdom. But outside the Dragon Kingdom, there are all kinds of geniuses and countless powerful beings. As long as you join us, you will no longer be a frog in a well and see the truly vast world. Then you will understand what the resources given to you by universities like Dragon Kingdom are nothing. Together with all the powerful geniuses in the world, absorb all the resources in the world, and then learn from each other and grow, that is the real power. Quote, the more Ning Yang talked, the more excited he became, and the more he talked, the more excited he became. The faces of everyone present became increasingly grim. What Ning Yang said was not entirely an exaggeration. Compared with ordinary universities, gifted classes do have many real benefits. They looked at Yu Fan's expression nervously, sweating in their hearts. If Yu Fan chose the gifted class like that Li Kui, that was an absolutely unacceptable loss to Long Guo. Under everyone's nervous gaze, Yu Fan spoke very unhappily. I said, "You're a mangy dog that doesn't even have a backbone and is rolling around on the ground. What are you crazy about? Are you worthy of being crazy in front of me? You, what did you say?" Ning Yang was a little confused by the scolding and couldn't react for a while. Originally, in his opinion, after he put forward these conditions, Yu Fan would immediately agree to join the gifted class, wagging his tail like a pug. But Yu Fan directly ignored the key question of whether to join the gifted class. He immediately began to insult him, using such ugly words that it would be an exaggeration to say it was a personal attack. Backless, skinny dog, rolling around on the ground, every word was accurately scolded on Ning Yang's back. Is this a high school graduate? Your language is too aggressive. Not only does he have no spine, he also has trouble using his ears. I said you are a self-righteous clown. Does the clown understand? How can I, like a frog in a well, follow you to see the truly vast world? Medel made me laugh to death. Do you know what the vast world is? Do you know what the solar system is? Do you know what the Milky Way is? Do you know what the universe is? You don't know anything. You only know how to fight a few bad dungeons and get a few bad equipment. Do you think you have seen the vast world? How pathetic. Sitting in a well, you still call others frogs in the well, which is ridiculous. As for what you mentioned, the Orange Legend, level equipment, the hundreds of cubic meters of space rings, and the Tiandao copy. Quote. They're all pure rubbish. Give them to me and I don't want them. And you said you would be my teacher. This is the most ridiculous thing. Who are you? Why should you be my teacher? What can you teach me? Without a mirror, you still can't pee. If you take a look at me, are you worthy? Don't say you are my teacher. Even if you kneel down and beg me to be your teacher, I won't accept you. As a veteran keyboard warrior who had protected his family in Zon for 7 or 8 years, Yu Fan. In terms of language output, I really have no fear of anyone. And the most important thing is that what Yu Fan just said is all the truth. So it sounds very confident. Orange Legend, and Red Brilliance, level equipment. Can it be compared to Uchiha Uchiwa Fan? This is an artifact. I don't know how much higher the grade is than Red Brilliance. Hundreds of cubic meters of space. Can this be said to be very big? I don't know that the Kamui space is hundreds, thousands or tens of thousands times of this, I can't calculate it. And what about the copy of Heaven's Way? This is the most difficult stretch for Yu Fan. Comprehension skills are something may be useful to others. But for Yu Fan, it's completely unnecessary. Just give me money. There are so many skills to use. So, it's not 100% Yu Fan's prejudice against Ning Yang. At most 99%. The other 1% is because the conditions he mentioned are of no use to Yu Fan. You, how dare you humiliate me like this? How dare you? Ning Yang's big fat face was red from suppressing it, and the fat on his face was trembling as he glared at Yu Fan. In the decades since Ning Yang reached level 50 at the age of 34 and became an awakened powerhouse, no one has ever dared to insult him face to face like this. Just when I came here, Gao Qicheng just made a few insinuations. Unlike Yu Fan, the words he uses are so ugly that he can only say the quintessence of Chinese culture, I X your mother. Why don't I dare? Just scold me, what can you do to me? Facing the pressure unleashed by Ning Yang, Yu Fan was not afraid at all. Even if Ning Yang shamelessly attacked his student, he would not panic at all. Not to mention that there are so many strong men from Longguo University here, Ning Yang doesn't dare to take action at all. Even in a one-on-one fight, Yu Fan might not be able to escape in this Los Angeles city marked by the Flying Thunder God. In particular, Ning Yang's profession is still a devil may cry, with a lot of mobility. Huchi. Ning Yang was so angry that his whole body was shaking and he was gasping for air. He really wanted to teach this young man who was always talking about cheating. But looking at the people around him who were watching eagerly, he had no choice but to give up. For a long time, Ning Yang gritted his teeth and spoke. You will definitely regret it. The preciousness and huge role of Tiandao copy are beyond your imagination. Quote. He didn't know what Yufan was talking about the solar system. I don't know how Yufan got the confidence to say that he, Ning Yang, is the frog in the well. But one thing he knew very well, the copy of Heaven's Way must be one of the most precious things on Blue Star. This is not what Ning Yang said, this is the consensus of all the strong people in the world. Yufan smiled helplessly. This fat guy had a really tough mouth. He could compete with Li Laoba. Isn't Tiandao Dungeon just about allowing people to understand skills? Quote. I'm telling you, as long as a truly intelligent genius works hard enough, he doesn't need that thing at all. Just like me, your genius class can't develop skills. Don't always think about relying on external things. Why can't you think about your own problems? What kind of genius class are you talking about? Isn't it actually just a bunch of losers? Ha 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 ha. Well, hard work and so on are of course Yufan's nonsense. No matter what talent or hard work, they are worthless in front of the king. You fart. The one who cursed angrily was Li Kui, the black egg following Ning Yang. At this moment, he was staring at Yufan angrily. He has lived with his mother since he was a child. But that woman is naturally playful and changes men more diligently than others change clothes. Naturally, these men who would get along with her were not good people. For Li Kui, a dark-skinned eyesore, he basically punched, kicked, and yelled at him. Until he graduated from high school, he never experienced the feeling of home. Until that day, he was admitted to the genius class by Ning Yang. There were teachers who respected him and brothers and sisters who treated him like a younger brother. It made him feel at home for the first time. And his senior brothers and sisters are also very powerful and have taught him many things. They are true geniuses. The gifted class is his home. It is also his pride. He cannot allow anyone to speak rudely to the gifted class. You are just a loser who just graduated from high school and knows nothing. How many skills have you developed in total? Who are you to say that people in gifted classes are not geniuses? Who are you to say that people in gifted classes are losers? Li Kui took a step forward and said loudly. His voice didn't fit his name at all. There was no masculinity in it, and it was cold and cold. He is 1 year older than Yufan and has been studying in the gifted class for a year. The level at this moment has reached level 35, which is 3 levels higher than Yufan. The aura exuding from his whole body is stronger than that of Yufan. Yufan frowned slightly as he looked at the black egg that suddenly jumped out. Who do you think you are? Do you have the right to speak here? Yufan took 1 step forward, and the first opening of the 8 inner gates opened instantly. The momentum that was slightly behind him rose from the ground and ran over Li Kui's face hard. What? Secret technique. Seeing the sudden surge of momentum around Yufan, not only Li Kui, but also Ning Yang was surprised. According to the information he received, Yufan was a ninja. It goes without saying how difficult it is to develop the skills of the ninja profession. The fact that Neon has racked its brains to develop just a few skills is enough to illustrate the problem. And under this situation, Yufan was actually able to develop a secret technique for the ninja profession outside of the Tiandao dungeon. Ning Yang pursed his lips and his expression changed continuously. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.